get anybody hanging out. All right. So now the big thing will be seeing how many people I get, I guess. 2? Who on earth? Oh, I guess I got it up twice, don't I? Three viewers. Anybody popping in? My name's Craig. If you don't know who I am, sorry. Thought I'd shore up my viewing hours, so I'm up into all questions. I've been on a fish kick lately. I got to start my streams earlier so you can actually see my tank because all my lights are off. So it's mostly coffee and cigarettes and fish chat. That's what we're doing. That's going to work. I do this as a hangout as well. So if you want to come in and shoot the breeze, feel free. Go. Having a pretty good laugh at a few things today, so kind of hope we get a few people in. I can tell them a few interesting stories. Well, hello there, whoever that is that popped in. So, Angelic Ways, you a reefer, just interested in the hobby? What's the case, I guess? And you don't have to say anything if you don't want. I'm just waiting for a few more people to get in here, but are you a subscriber to Reefer Madness by chance? 20 years. Awesome. Well, you got me beat by a long way. Yeah. That's awesome. Actually, I'll be there someday, I'm sure. Yeah. Do you do Full reef tank, or do you just do fish? Hey, Al, what's going on? I should probably give you a hammer. I guess there's been trolls rolling around all night, apparently. Well, you know what? It's funny. Angelic, I'll be honest with you. It's really funny. I had an incident happen today with a fellow reefer here in St. John, New Brunswick, where I am. And that's awesome. Full reef, by the way. And it's one of those times you wish you could be the fish police. Yeah, Rico did. I saw a few, and I was like, Steve was right on him. He got them. But I mean, even I spotted them. But yeah, I'll wait for a few more people. And this story about this reefer, you wish you were the fish police, that you could just say, yes, sir, I'm confiscating your tank. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty. There's very few times I've been horrified at somebody's tank. So this is one of those ones where I just sort of looked at this guy monumentally stunned. Yeah. And he knew he was screwing up because I had test kits with me. Because I mean, this other fella, he was pretty concerned about this tank. And I was like, well, it's only a few things to test, and we can tell if it's safe. He wouldn't even let me use my refractometer on his water because I could tell the tank was stressed out, and I knew that was probably the culprit. But yeah. So we get a few more of the regulars. Maybe will pop in. It could have been. Yeah, it could have been Pride. And yeah, I'm sure you have, Angelic, 20 years doing it. Yeah. That's like my LFS guy. He's like 37 years total. He's got his own shop that he just opened up 2 years ago. And the other guy in my province, I'm up in Canada, by the way, he's trying to get him shut down because he just can't stand the fact that his shop looks like crap. This guy's garage shop looks better than his actual storefront. And yeah, it's a pride thing. That's why he's trying so hard to get him pushed out of business, but it ain't going to work. So you got it. Yeah. I always say, do you want my honest opinion, or do you just want to hear what you want to hear? Al, do you like to be called Al? Somebody said you got an actual name. Kansas City on the Missouri side versus the Kansas side. I would imagine you got more than one reef shop in Kansas City, right? And yeah, Al, since you're here and you might be semi-aware about what we're trying to do for Lisa Love there and get her set up with that 40 breeder. Eight shops. I hate you. I so hate you. I don't even really have a shop where I live. I got to drive an hour to get to the one I use, and there's two more I'll use that are about 4 hours away, and they're in a different province. It's hilarious. The love of living in. You know what? If I lived in a different province, up in Quebec, in Montreal, there's like 10 shops, and Ontario's is loaded with them. But that's because that's where all the population basically is. And it's fine. Don't get me wrong. No, it's not fine. I wish I had 8 shops. Trust me. My wife would not like it, though. I'd never be home. I'd always be hanging out at a shop. My tanks would have no love. You're going to hear me rolling smokes. And Angelic, if you've ever been in Dave's Nano channel, you'll know what that sounds like. That's good. I always like it when I hear the community's friendly. Here, it's indifferent. I swear to I swear to cow. It is actually indifference. There's a lot of it here. Yeah, I roll my own smokes. Canada's rather expensive on tobacco. The safety Nazis here seem to think that raising the price is the answer. I can't wait till people are getting arrested for stealing because they, can't afford their cigarette hobby. Yeah, I like Dave. That's how I actually got into all this. I was doing vids, popped into a live stream that I saw of his. Pack of cigarettes. I'll answer that question first. Pack of cigarettes here. If you smoke, okay, how to put this? So like Marlboro's in the States, what we call a brand name cigarette. Up here, it's like Players and Export A and stuff like that. They are $17.90 a pack, which would be about $15 American per pack. And you can smoke the next level down, which we call the mid grades for fun. I'm paying almost $15 a pack. And that's if I buy tailors. I do when I travel and stuff because just tailings are a pain in the ass in a car. And if I roll, I spend half that amount. Oh yeah, Canada is extremely expensive. There's a reason we have universal health care, but it's really not that much better. I tried to preach that when that was all going on, that you need it, but remember that it comes with its own cost, right? So, that's what people don't understand. It's like, yeah, if I break my leg, I don't pay a dime for anything, but I'll wait in the emergency room for 4 hours to get that leg set. Yeah, $6 a pack. I know. Yeah, I've heard that from my friends in the States. Did you want to pop in the hangout or anything, Angelic? It's an open discussion kind of thing. I don't want to stand here and yak my guts out. Well, Al, to tell you the truth, most of the doctors head to the States from here. So that should give you a picture of that. The term in Canada, it's called the brain drain. A lot of the high-end trades disappear to the States. Need to get Pat or Jeff or somebody in here. Yep, I'm going to hand you the link. Hold on here. It should work. Let me know if it doesn't, because I know it's been indifferent and weird lately for some reason. Well, I know I went over to Coral 12Gs. That mustache, that just frightens me, number one, that he's got. That's just one of those things. And on top of that, they were literally, when I popped in, they were talking about cheese curds. Look, I'm all about, talking about different things other than the hobby, but there just comes a point where it's like, okay, we're at ridiculous now here, okay? Yeah. Oh, put the boy to bed. That's fine. Oh, fine. I don't have to put mine to bed. I had to yell at him tonight, though. No, we don't like it. Move out. Now the blessings of a 19-year-old. He don't need university. He knows everything. Well, you can't. And I get why he did it, and I know why he's doing it, and I'm happy he's doing it. I've been, if you think about it, Al, we've both probably been watching him since he was what, 10? I think his channel's been going that long. I thought it was funny when he did his You go back and you watch his frag one when he did the zoos, and he was talking about that's palitoxin that just came out there, and it's like, well, maybe. You know? He had a lot to do with that fear mongering around zoas there at that point. I haven't actually talked to him since then, but you know, pallies are their own beast. There's a particular look to them. Not all zoos are toxic. Yada yada yada. You know, it's one of those things. I still handle all zoos and pallies the same, but you know, if I know it's a zoo for sure, I won't wear gloves, but I still cover my mouth and my eyes. And if I got cuts on my hands, I wear my gloves. So, well, you know why he did that? That's shooting fish in a barrel, which apparently is harder than it looks. But it's kind of that thing. He's doing that because that's a common denominator. People like top 10 stuff or top 5. Didn't agree with him either. I think the only fish that everybody can agree on that is hard to keep alive is mandarins. I think that's the one that every fish keeper in any way, shape, or form can agree that you have to have a tank set up a certain way, meaning it's got to have the live food for them. Yeah, I do too. My wife was very supportive in it. Actually, she's like, "No, you should go ahead and stay up. It's fine." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Right? Because we have a routine prior to me, you know, going out of work that I thought she would want us to stick with, and you know, no, she just loves that I love this hobby. I wasn't really loving anything. I got put out of work due to stress. I'm 35 years as a tech, computer technician, network technician, and then I went to work for Xerox for the last 6 years. And I got burnt out. I got burnt out by stupidity in such a way that it just took me out. You got it, Angelic. Whose opinion? It's his opinion. I wish he had said that. If he said something to that effect, I would say that's okay. That's his opinion. Eh. No. I have a problem with other streams occasionally because they're hypocritical at best. There's more than one way to do things, and that's true, but don't then turn around and say, but this is the way you should do it. Kind of bothers me. And just let me know whenever you want to hop in the stream, Angelic. I'll pop you a link. And if we get some more people watching or want to get in, let me know. Let's get to quibbling. So, anything new in your world, Al? I haven't really got to talk to you lately. This is probably the most I got to talk to you in a while. Not that I talk to you all that much. I always mean to, and then I get hijacked by other crap. So. No, you're absolutely right. If you've watched any of my videos, did you see the one where I actually showed the guy's bottle and the living pods actually in the bottle? I guess I'm kind of lucky that way. That Jack is got his own company going, selling pods. He raises them himself. It's actually pretty cool. I'm going to do a video on his setup here, hopefully shortly. Now that things are kind of balancing out in my life, but. Yep, that's exactly it. I don't do things the way, say, Rico would do things, right? We probably do a lot of things the exact same. I got a little ticked off the other night with exclusive because I was, I heard what O was saying, There's a couple things I still think are wrong, but I'm not going to sit there. If O could get him to listen, then that's all that really matters, right? That if he does this, that's going to work. And my Super 2000 Reef Octopus, my foam doesn't start until halfway down the cone or halfway up the cone. The minute that you could see that his foam was starting just underneath the neck, that's, of course, he was going to have a problem. Anything would set that skimmer off and cause a flood into the cup and then an overflow, right? But the other thing is that they're like, oh, it's going to overflow. Then he shouldn't have said, oh, well, see, I can rant. I should just put up Reefer Madness Rant as the title every time I put these up. And that's just it, though. It really does come down to, trial and error, figure out what works for you and stick with it, and then be patient with it. The thing I hate is that, I've had my, I saw one, not in, it was in Coral G's thread there. The other thing I saw that just, yeah, I'm out of here, is the guy just set up an A80 over top of his tank, and he said his corals are still closed up, and he set it on the lowest setting for 1 day since he set it up. It was like, it's been a day. It's been a day. It takes more than a effing day for things to settle down. like, really? A day? Oh, you're one of those microwave people. Oh, isn't there anything faster than a microwave? Oh, and I'm getting a webcam donated. So I'm actually going to be able to run video of my tank and have my ugly mug on screen, I guess. I'll probably still not turn the camera on. I'm just like that. And like I said, I'd have my tank shown right now, but all you'd see is dark. So. And plus, if you want to see my tank, there's many, many wonderful videos to go see my tank. Actually, Meyer, who was it? No, it wasn't Meyer. Me and Bubba and Meyer were talking to, I forget who it was. And it was a coralline allergy question. Actually, you know what's funny, Angelic? I was speaking to, oh God, what's his name? The guy who runs American Reef, who always deals with Mike Paletta. And back then, it was when an under gravel filter was the only way to run a reef tank, was the thing. And all I can think is that is literally the biggest detritus / nitrate trap ever invented. Oh, thanks. That's actually finished. And if you want to hear a rant, did you watch the one on the new Sumptor and the me fragging the Zoe and then doing the Euphilia? Did you see that one yet? Yeah, Crush Coral as a skimmer. Yeah. Yeah, things have really evolved. And you know what the problem is, though? Things have started to rely too much on automation. And I think it's bringing people into the hobby that are then far too keen to throw their hands into the tank and then let that run everything for them as well. Don't think it's a very good idea, but Angelic, if you want to answer it, you can pop in and answer it, or I can. I kind of know the theory that was behind it. Yeah. It sounds like a cigarette time. And people mislead them, yeah. So Al, do you vacuum your sand bed? Like even from time to time, pick a section and clean it out? Or have a pool? Do you have a pool? All right. I'll pop you the link. Do you have a tank yet, Al? I remember you saying, I know you were freshwater, but I assumed you already had a saltwater tank. I could be wrong. I never did my freshwater either. My sons. I ran a freshwater tank for 22 days and went to salt. I just can't stand the look of the fish. I just want to eat them. Yeah, my son's 20-gallon tank, you could take a leak in it, and you couldn't kill it. Now, mind you, that wasn't because he cared for it. It was his pure neglect. And the fact that I did his water changes that led to that. So, there we go. Hey, Angelic.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. All right.
All right, actually, this time it actually worked. The last time I tried it, it ended horribly.
Yeah, it's really funny. The Hangout, that stupid redirect that they put in, you got to go and shorten it, and then it works and it doesn't. There's a way to actually make sure it always works, but I haven't quite got that trick. I'm going to have to get that from Dave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've talked to Dave several times. He's a pretty good guy.
He is a great guy. I do enjoy speaking with Dave. Fellow musicians always get along anyway. So,
yeah. So, to the question about the crushed coral, well, what we used to do, now this is old school method, and we found out real quick this doesn't work. The theory behind the crushed coral, what we would do would be you would put it in a cylinder or like a wet dry sump, and you would pump your water out of your tank, run it through the crushed coral, and in theory...
What happened there? Lost you. Oh, we lost you, man. What happened there?
Skimmers were real big back then.
Nope.
They weren't like what we have now.
Yeah, we lost you for a second there.
Oh, yeah. Am I still there?
Yeah, you're there now. So try to explain. So you were just saying back then with what you guys ran for skimming with crushed coral.
Right. The theory behind it was that it would trap all the detritus.
Yep.
And we would take it out once a month, rinse it out, put it back in. We didn't know anything about nitrate and nitrite or phos. We didn't know anything about all that back then.
No. So
we learned real quick.
So it was like a pool filter with the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you had a skimmer back then, you either owned a fish store or you was really rich because they weren't small like they are now. They were good sized.
Yep, they absolutely are. Yep.
I tell a lot of these guys coming into hobby that they don't know how spoiled they are with what they have technology wise.
Well, and it's the understanding guys like, because man, people were really crapping on Mike Paletta last night. I thought that was funny, but anyway, we were having a discussion about guys like that were, it's not my job. I just do this, right? On the conservation front, right? And it's true. You can't ask a guy like Mike Paletta, whose whole sole interest is a hobbyist. He's not, blah, blah, blah. He's not the expert. He's not an eco, terrorist, for lack of a better term. But when you get into anything like that, it's kind of funny that guys like that wouldn't. But I understand where he's coming from, that for him to get involved in that, he's already busy as it is. You know what I mean? So for him, it's like Julian Sprung. He even admits that he doesn't get involved as much as people think he should because he's in a company. He's doing, stuff in the hobby side, right? So he tries from that front. But, it's definitely, so how was using tap water? Yeah, I got a few stories about that too. But Angelic, you should speak up on that. You've been in it long enough. I bet you there was a time. No RODI, huh?
Yeah, we used tap water. Yeah. And we were surprised that we could get anything to survive.
Yep. I bet.
I mean, just technology, where it's at. And I'll tell you how it was when I got started. And this is just personal experience, was the guys that were in it for a while when I got started, if I had a problem, they wouldn't give me the answer to the solution. They would make me figure it out myself. And I pay homage to that because I learned a lot from that.
Yeah, it made you learn versus just teach a man to fish, or give a man a fish he eats for a day. Teach him to fish, and he eats for the rest of his life, right?
Oh yeah, and so to this day, I still pay homage to that, and I pay it forward. But there's also a point to where I just say, okay, you need to stop and think about what you've done from beginning to this point to cause this issue. Dude, you're going to find your answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody thinks, well, overnight, this hair algae popped up in the tank. No, it doesn't happen overnight.
Nope.
It takes a long time to build everything up.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, to a degree. Good things happen very slow. Bad things tend to happen a whole lot faster, right? So
my motto is the only thing that happens fast in a reef tank is disaster.
Yipper. I got, like I was saying, I got a story here, and I'm probably going to end up talking about it all night, but I went to a guy's house there, and you couldn't tell him anything. He's not going to listen. And I just looked at, my buddy Sean, and just told him, like, you're right on the money. If you just brought me here to confirm that for you, well, okay, thanks for the coffee. This guy's tank, he thinks he's going to, I am pretty good at this hobby. I'm just pretty good. I'm learning. Every time I do something, I'll see something new, and it's like one of those things. Like, if you look at my 20, you can see the hair algae, and I love it. I got a few, just private messages from people saying, "Oh, you got to take care of that." And it's like, I already know where it came from. I know exactly how that happened in my brand new system. And they're like, "Well, how?" I gave the rock to my wife. She wanted to have the rock a certain way, so she forgot to spray at all or do anything. It was live rock when I bought it. It was already cured, and she left it out overnight to dry. I had already gone to bed. I thought she put it back in the water. I had a bucket set up, big tote, for her to sit it in to let it cure. Stay there, stay wet, stay live, and then I'd put it in the tank. Nope. She let it dry, and guess what? Well, now I got that die off on the rock that I got to deal with, right? And yet somehow I still set up a tank literally in less than a day with fish in it, and it's running and it's alive. And I look at people, no, you can absolutely do it this way.
Right.
And Al's got a great question there. So how has reefing changed in 20 years?
Technology. 20 years ago, we couldn't keep half the coral that we keep now. We didn't have the T5 lighting or the LED lighting, or, like I said earlier, the skimmer, the water quality, or the knowledge of what the water we believe the water should be. We'll never emulate the ocean. There's no way we'll ever do that.
No.
But we use compact fluorescence, and there was just a handful of corals that you could even get if you could find them. Yeah. And we know now that under compact fluorescence, they just won't survive.
Yeah, if you watch, I think it's Mike Paletta when he was on American. Geez, I'm saying, bringing up poor Mike Paletta all night. I'll be picking on him all night, I guess. He was talking about that too. That we thought that's all corals were brown.
Yeah,
and it wasn't until the advent of metal halide that guys started to realize, like, oh wow, there are many colors that can be found, right?
Oh yeah, and there's still stuff out there that we don't know about. Yeah, we're learning.
Yeah, it's just so Al, I didn't see. Did you my freshwater tank? I never cleaned the same bit. Do you have a saltwater tank yet, Al? I thought you did. You do, right? And sorry, Angelic, I just know Al from other live streams, so I don't know if you've bumped into him before or not. I am not good friends. I just know who he is from seeing his name. Might get a few more people in here. It's hard to say. You do not. Are you getting ready to, or just a passive interest? Because I do believe if I wasn't running tanks, I'd probably be hanging out talking about them and learning as well. I know I would actually, because I just always, probably since 2000, have wanted to do it.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna answer Al's question. I just saw it about the what are your thoughts on using tap water?
Oh, yeah, go right ahead. Yep.
You can use tap water. I would dechlorinate it first. Let me back this up. It depends on what you're wanting to keep in the tank for using tap water. A lot of your SPS, forget it. They won't survive in it. Too many metals in the water, even if you run carbon, which is not a good idea, in my opinion, which, everybody does their own thing. I don't run carbon in my SPS tank. I will on a water change for about 2 days, and that's it. I pull it out. It seems to have an adverse effect on the acros for some reason.
I've heard stories about that with the SPS, that carbon can be hard on them.
Yeah, I don't know if it strips too much out of the water or exactly what it is. I'd have to do a lot of research on that.
But if you're keeping... Oh, no, go ahead.
If you're keeping like Pallies or, softies like that, then you're going to be fine. Tap water, no big deal. Shouldn't be any big deal there. Tap water tends to create more of algae blooms than RODI water, but there's a lot of other factors that go into that, tank placement, a lot of natural sunlight, nutrients, all that. But just tap water itself, no, you'll be okay. I would run carbon with it or dechlorinate it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely dechlorinated. I mean, just period. Chloramines in the States is a bigger problem. And I know that Prime can nail it, but a lot of people will buy the cheap dechlorinator and don't cheap out on dechlorinator. Buy Prime. Buy the one is going to work. Yeah, go ahead.
My only downfall that I don't like about the dechlorinators is, they bind it up, but there's no effective way to remove it.
No, you're not going to remove it. There is a way. I do actually know a way. But it involves something that I tell people that wait till you got a little more experience before you go jumping into it. I buy those Chinese filters that have the little box filter on the bottom. You know what I'm talking about? Pump, sorry, not filter. So it's a pump and it's got a box filter you can attach to the bottom or a little, cover. I use them for mixing water and that, but I also use them as like cheap reactors. So if I'm going to run carbon in the tank for whatever reason, I'll put that on there, run it for the 4 or 5 days I'm going to run it, and then take it off. Well, the other thing I learned from my LFS guy who's been in the hobby as long as you, probably a little longer, is I'll put deionizing resin into a nylon and then put that in the tank for 3 days, and that strips everything out. But you can't leave it in for extended periods because you'll strip everything out of that water. So you start harming your corals. But if you wanted to clean your tap water extremely effectively and don't have the money to say buy an RODI system, if you were to actually dechlorinate it and then stick that in the bucket and leave it overnight, you would actually effectively strip out everything in the water.
See, I don't know where Al lives or where you're at.
Yeah.
Here we can buy RODI water from LFS.
Yep.
On average, it's about 20 cents a gallon.
Yeah, here it's a little more expensive when they do it. I sell it for more as well.
I just advise people that if you're going to do this, you're not talking a whole lot of money to fill a tank. If you can't afford an RODI system, I understand that. I would go ahead and start at least a 50-50 mix or something.
Yeah, go to Walmart. Go to the RO where you bottle your own water. At least it's reverse osmosis, and all the bad stuff for the most part has been taken out.
Right.
So, it's cheaper. I wasn't paying much. I think I was paying $2.90 for 5 gallons. So,
which is cheap.
It's cheap. And Al, go buy a 10-gallon tank, get a couple of clowns, and start up, man. It's a nano tank, if you're not going to run corals, is super cheap to set up. Put some rock in it, go bare bottom, and just get your feet wet. No pun intended. You know what I mean? When I went through my ick outbreak and I did that 9 months of crap, I had at one time 7 tanks, including my DT, my display, and all the fish were in these other tanks, and there was no rock, there was no sand. And yet all these fish survived this 9-month journey I went on getting rid of ick out of my display. And you know, they're fine. I lost out of that. I had 2 jumpers, unfortunately, because, you know, putting lids on all those tanks of paint, and one of them jumped out a spot that was 1/8 of an inch. So I don't know how he did it. I don't know why he did it, but that firefish was determined to be a carpet surfer. So, and then the other one was, and I lost 1 to copper, and that was the 6-line wrasse, because I didn't know wrasses couldn't really handle copper at full dose right away. You have to ramp it up slow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and angelfish you learn the hard way with. You find out that if you take a pistol shrimp and a goby and separate them, the goby goes a little crazy. So
yeah, they will.
Yeah, I had to set up a 5-gallon and put him and the pistol shrimp in some sand and a rock that they could bury themselves under. And he stayed in that for 6 months, and actually is when he transitioned to a female, my yellow watchman. I found that out, that they don't stay yellow, females. They go
always.
Go ahead.
That has always intrigued me, how a species could change sex. Shrimp do it, fish do it.
Yeah,
it's just it's intriguing.
It's really wild with the yellow watchmans that it was anecdotal evidence that led to everybody figuring this out, that marine biologists didn't even know this, that they thought the females just were always white with dark bands with the blue spots, and that males were yellow with the blue spots. And I'm like, well, I had a yellow with, you know, the blue spots, and it went white with these dark bands, and then the blue spot's still there, you know, that standard striation or dotted pattern. And it was like, well, what happened? And I went looking, because I'm trying to figure out why my beautiful yellow fish became this angry, defensive, you know, white with dark bands, right? And it was she finally changed sex and decided to go that way. And her name is Hans, because she was supposed to be a male. But I still have them, and they have been with me now for 3 years, and that pistol shrimp is getting big. His claws is I can hear him, and I've actually come up to the door and heard him snapping in the tank outside of my apartment and concrete walls. So 3rd loudest sound in the ocean, folks.
And I do agree with Al's statement about the ammonia being toxic at basic pH level.
Oh yeah, look. There was some stuff said in the last couple of days in someone's chat, who shall remain nameless, that that's wrong. And I don't know why people were agreeing with it, because it's wrong. It's out there to read that it's wrong. And the alkalinity part, that, you don't need to test that pH. Why? pH can clue you in there's something wrong with your alkalinity. You should be testing at least in an established tank. I don't know about you, Angelic, but for me, once a month for sure, I will test everything. If you're going to keep like big sticks and you're going to get into that part of it, you have to test almost daily to know what's going on.
What I do is I test 3 days in a row. I adjust accordingly. And then at the end of the week, I'll test Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then I'll change my dosing if I have to. Then on the following Saturday, I'll check it again to ensure that everything's in line.
Yep. Exactly. Actually, Al, your talk about the fish in transit too. The store in Moncton that I like to rant on about, that this retard, it just pisses me off to no end. He was talking about his 12-hour acclimation after transit, and literally about 10 of us wrote back on his forum that he pays for. You are dumb as hell, because those fish are sitting in a toxic soup at this point. The minute you open the bag, you're going to change the pH instantaneously, and the ammonia is going to go toxic. And he's like, no, it doesn't. It's basic science, man. Right? You know? Hey, Bubba, what's going on, bro? See, I got my fans, Angelic. Yeah. I should just be creeped out. What is it? The sound of my voice? You know?
I remember talking to Bubba, and when I used to go into Rico's chat. He's a good guy.
Yep. Actually, Bubba was the first guy. I think it was Bubba and Pat Murphy there. Murphy's Reefing egged me on about setting up streams once in a while or trying to get regular. I'm probably going to go fairly regular. I got my issues with things. I have a lot of issues. Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah. You know, it's, same here. I'm debating more coffee. If I go silent there, we know why. I probably went and put on some more Java. You know what else works really well? There's a Cordon ammonia lock. And apparently, if you're even remotely concerned, that works really well. I haven't used it, but if I think my fish has been in the bag too long, I do use Prime. Just so I don't run into that problem, right? Thanks, Bubba. I appreciate that. I'm really, my voice is shot today. I think you're aware. You might be. I don't remember if you found out that my grandmother recently passed, and I've been dealing with my my uncle, her son, is bipolar, and he's an alcoholic. So you can imagine how that's going. Yeah, it's a little messy.
Sorry to hear about your grandmother. That's horrible.
That's a bit of a bummer. I deal with it very well. I've always been kind of pragmatic about death ever since I was a kid, but it was harder packing up her room because we were sleeping in it, me and my wife, and 23 years of her smoking in that apartment and my uncle being a heavy smoker for the last 15 living with her, and my grandfather smoked too prior to his passing. It was kind of, I couldn't breathe. I have my own breathing problems being a smoker. And literally, I could feel the dust and the nicotine on my skin. I keep my house pretty clean. She couldn't clean anymore, and my brain automatically. She died from COPD, so her heart raced out at the end because there's no oxygen in her blood, and that's what led to respiratory arrest is what and then cardiac arrest, right? So that's what happened to her. Oh, thanks, guys. It was harder because I knew that environment had to be a big cause. You know what I mean? Like there was no clean air, and she wouldn't open the window. She was her own culprit here. So it was kind of funny that I had to pack a room after this too, and all the memories come flooding back. Things I remember seeing on dressers and seeing in her place. And I looked at the wife and I said, I'm not even asking for some of this stuff. There's certain things I'm just going to take. You know what I mean? Nothing big, nothing expensive. It was just my memories, right? Like my grandfather used to have a gun. It was a glass, looked like a classic pistol. You know what I mean? Pirate pistol. And it was filled with Brute. Brute cologne is what it was, right? And it had sat for so long that when I pulled the chrome cover off to reveal the cap, there was a layer of nicotine and dust around the cap, right? And so we opened it anyway. And when you smelled it, it didn't smell like Brute anymore. It just smelled like alcohol. And I just laughed and I said, you know what? I'm going to leave this for my brothers because the stand was missing that it used to sit on. And I said, well, there's nowhere I can put this that the cats aren't going to knock it over. I got pretty maniac cats, so. And but there were other things. I got a bottle of Cavassier, not Cavassier. I'm just saying, ladies' man there. Courvoisier, which is Napoleon's brandy, and it's 137 years old. Well, at some point, my uncle decided to open it and drink it. Right? And
wow.
And I remember this from about maybe 10 years ago. And he goes, and it wasn't even very good. And I just had this stunned look on my face. And he's like, what? I said, you just drank $300 brand or cognac. And he just looked at me, right? Well, it was horrible. I said, that's not the point. You drank $300 worth of cognac. I said, have you thought about what you did? I said, and that's just the bottle. I said, it sat in a stand that looked like a cannon. So it had the wheels and the tray and everything that it sat in. I said, I priced that online. You don't even want to know what it cost, buddy. All right. No, he said it was absolutely horrible, Bubba. It tastes like crap. I guess because it didn't taste like Budweiser, huh? Anyway, there you go. Sorry, see, get off topic. How do we get off topic of fish? Anyway. But yeah, we cleaned it up. Me and my wife carefully cleaned it up. You know, the brass and all the stuff that was on it. And I know you were. Come on, I'm the only guy who really got your last where the Shinobi came from, buddy. Come on now, and your Van Wilder reference today. Oh, it's still warm. No, so Bubba, geez, I just lost track. Sorry, guys. It's gonna be one of those days. I think I need more coffee. I'm not awake. Yeah, my wife's actually working tonight, so I even get to stay on longer. Need to get some more people in here. Probably won't though. Coral Fish 12G, and I think Rico's still going, and I haven't seen. I think ACS is in Rico's chat, but I haven't seen Paul. Where does Shinobi come from? There was a video game back in the 80s called Shinobi. Sega Master System, as I recall. And I think there was a Shinobi 2, as I recall. Oh, tell her you went to bed and you just went to the bathroom. That'll work. I can take that in doses. If you're asking about why am I not over in Rico's chat, But other than that, you know, I just wanted my own chat. I get over there, I get distracted from my own, so. I'm trying to think. Oh, that guy's tank. Let's come back to that. Man, I wish I had taken pictures. You guys would just be amazed that this guy's talking about fragging stuff, and you're like, that's not even mature enough to frag yet. He had a hammer, and it was 2 little heads, and the stock leading to the V might have been 1/2 an inch, maybe a little more. And this guy's talking about cutting and fragging it. And I looked at him and I you know, again, the stunned look on my face. And I went, you cut that, even if you cut that right there in the middle, you're going to find out you just killed both heads of that coral. Oh, no, you can do it. I said, what makes you think, well, I saw it online. And I'm like, yeah, okay. You saw it online. All right. Yeah. And the internet doesn't lie, right? You know, are you sure you understand what you saw? Yeah, Yavo's a little, yeah. There's a few guys, and it's nothing personal. It's just that for me, it's like I'm not going to hop into his chat. I personally sometimes feel that he thinks I'm trying to hijack his, and it's just because I can talk at length because, you know, I'm a big mouth like that. And I don't like taking a leak in other people's sandbox, so... No one believed you had a tank for 1/2 a year. Seriously? Why? No, Yavo's over Rico's, I think. He's over in Rico's hangout. So.
I must say, Al, that's the first time I've ever seen a question asked about using aloe to fight ick.
Aloe to fight ick? Seriously?
That is an interesting question. I've never been asked that question before.
I guess the premise being that it would help with their skin? Is there a study or something that comes from, or?
I have no idea.
I guess that's I guess what I was thinking there, Al, that it would help with the stress coat maybe. But hey, what's going up, ADU? Or going down? Want me to do bad Australian jokes? We can do that.
Oh, please, Al, I just want to confirm. Don't think I'm making fun of the question. I've just never heard that question before. I don't know how to respond to it. I would be afraid to use aloe to fight ick, but it could be something that works.
It could be. It could, if it were beneficial to the fish, I'd absolutely use it, especially if there was some kind of study at all. Because my personal problem with it would be any kind of an oil-based anything could end up coating the top of the tank and screwing up air exchange.
The only way that I know to combat ick would be to pull all the fish out, let the system run 12 or whatever weeks without anything in it, and quarantine the fish. And if you can, depending on the fish, if you could put it in copper, low dose of copper, slowly ramp it up, or just keep them in quarantine and watch them and hope they pull through. But usually what I know about ick is once you see ick on the fish, you've already seen the cyst, which is, you don't see ick, you just see the crystallized cyst that's already done its job afterwards.
Yep.
So by the time you see that, it's already too late.
Okay. So he's saying that some of them, there's a company making a product that uses it in a water treatment product. So, okay, so they must have already thought about that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to let them do it, Shinobi. For now. You got to watch out for that ADU. There's some guys, man, you pop in, you try and ask for subs to your channel, they'll flip right the hell out, man. I don't have enough people in here to care one way or the other, so. Yeah, see? Everyone kind of, that's kind of a given, I guess, but I know about trying to build up your viewership. Trust me. I was all thrilled. I hit 80 subs, and I think I'm a little higher now, 82 or something. I'm like, woo, all right. Yeah. But yeah, and exactly, Al's saying it right. Come in, talk, have your conversation, and then it's almost like once everyone's kind of comfortable with talking, they know you're around. That'll come of its own accord. But if you just pop into like Coral 12Gs and say, hey, can you sub, he'll just shut you down. Most of them will.
So I don't ever do it for subs. I come into live stream for fellowship, and to meet new people, talk about things. I learn things, try to help somebody the best that I can.
Yeah. And me too. I want to do it just because I like doing it. It's an easy way to kill some time and, meet new people and see their channels and what they're doing and what their thoughts and, things are. And, to me, it's that's why I also don't pick on people for doing that. It's like, yeah, I understand, but, realize that a lot of streams are going to cut you down for it. So just saying, dude. Plus you live in Australia. I like Australians. They're kind of like Canadians that got lost. Yeah. Yeah, it's always funny with unmute. There we go. Oh, here, Bubba. I'm going to make you a rancher now, both of you, because you guys are usually pretty quick. If I remember how to give you a wrench. Oh, right. Okay. I don't remember how to do this. That's hilarious. Okay, now I'm definitely a little tired. I'm gonna have to go make some coffee. I'll hand out a wrench here in a moment. Manage moderator. Wow,
that's pretty interesting.
Oh, go ahead.
A buddy of myself, we were talking earlier, and I saw Rico talk about the same thing before, but we had a conversation about it tonight about, getting new people involved in this hobby.
Yep.
and trying to help them. And I was telling a buddy of mine, he was trying to help somebody. And I said, well, you got to remember, they don't know. And you got to be patient with them. You want them to have patience. You've got to be patient too.
No, that's a good point, right? Like I usually am pretty patient until let's face it. Some people, they open their mouth, you kind of have it in a 30-second span, right?
Oh yeah.
But that fella today, I don't think I've ever been so bloody amazed at someone's monumental stupidity in my life. No, that's true. I'm a musician. I've met guys where I've just stood there and went, wow, you didn't even open the deck of cards, let alone have a full deck, but this guy was just, I'm going to frag these Zos. I said, those Zos are under stress, man. You have like 3 open heads out of 30. I said, you go cutting them now. I said, I guarantee they're either going to bail or they're not going to survive. And they went with that Ophelia. He's talking about cutting. Hey, Death Mage. There's certain things that when you're looking at them and you want to be nice, but they're coming off so strong in whatever direction that you're just looking at them going, well, what, tell me your thinking. Tell me why you think that's going to be okay. And this guy couldn't even explain that. And, and it's like he's doing the small nanotank thing, hang on the back. I have no problem with that. I ran a few successful tanks with canister filters and hang on the back filters and all that and, whatnot. That wasn't my problem. He thought I was being pissy because he didn't sump or something. It's like, no, it's nothing to do with that. You're not looking at the animal that you're talking animal. It's just a coral. And I'm like, oh, wow, we're really off the mark here, aren't we, buddy? You don't even understand what you're dealing with. You just think these are plants.
They feed, don't they? They hunt.
And it's like, so I had to literally remove myself from that situation, right? I'm already kind of stressed because of what's gone on in the last couple of weeks of my life. This guy was about to wear it in a monumental way for me. And it was like, nope, not my place. I'll just kind of look at you goof, and see you later. You know what I mean? I hope you don't kill these coral, but if you do, there's nothing I can do to do it. Stop you. It's like I said, I'm not the fish police. I don't get to come in here and, stop. Doesn't happen. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like people that want to come in and buy a hippo tang and put it in a 55-gallon tank, right?
Oh, the one I hear all the time is, and this one, I shouldn't laugh at this, and I try not to because I was doing a hobby too, but they set tanks up and then they talk about, water changes. And I'm like, yeah, you can do that. I don't water change as much as I should, but I'm a little different. I don't freak out about things, but when I talk to them about water changing, try to keep them on a routine, try to get things established with them. The one I hear all the time is, well, the salt's too expensive. Well, if the salt's too expensive, you're in the wrong hobby.
Yeah, that's not even the expensive part, my friend.
No. And I said, if you really want to break it down in all theory, your tank is nothing either. The cost of your tank is nothing compared to what you're going to spend going forward.
I like to admit, I don't like to admit this, but I have lost. I figured it out one day, and if anything was ever going to put me out of the hobby, that would have. I spent well over 4,000 in coral that are dead.
It hurts.
Hey, Bubba.
Hey. What's going
on?
There
we go. Not much, man. You're going to actually give me a break so I can go, 1, to the bathroom, and 2, make
yeah,
some more
go
coffee.
for it, man. Yeah, feel free.
And Death Mage, if you want in, you can pop in the chat anytime, or just hang out if you want, or you can just hang out in the chat. Don't matter to me. So
yeah, I just want to spend.
I think I want to go punch that guy in the face. Is that? Can I get away with that? Go back 2:00 in the morning, and the guy opens the door. Hey, Craig, what's pump? And just pop that motherfucker right in the face, right? Fuck. I mean, it really. I wish I had the picture. I can get it. But this guy's rock, the green turf. You know what I'm talking about? That layer of green on the rock is starting, and he's like, well, that means it's healthy.
Okay. Healthy in what way? Define healthy.
Right.
Exactly. And you're just like, man, like, Well, and Norm, the guy who runs Salty Cave. If you guys ever wanted to see the local fish store that I shop at, I don't think he's got pics of the store up, but saltycave.ca is his online presence. And it's small. You're going to be able to tell right away. Like, it's small, right? But I love this guy. Almost 35 years, and he's been doing the hobby, and he started in New York on tap water.
Oh, nice.
Right, and he talked about. Go ahead.
You can't run the tap over here for mine. Summertime, we have TDS over 800.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really high. So I found out through the waterworks that we use the water from Colorado and the summertime, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And then they use well water pumped in, and then they do filter it, but they don't filter it that well.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just horrible. I mean, I roast through DI resin and it's just like 800 plus, really.
Yeah, I do here too. And you know what, Deathmage, you're absolutely right. I just wanted to jump in because she's chatting there, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people did. I didn't. I did, but I did kind of. We were talking about that a little earlier. I would go to my local Walmart and with 5-gallon jugs and bottle RO. Right, so I at least never actually did fully tap water, but it's close enough. It's just reverse osmosis. I mean, so some of the stuff got taken out, but not all the bad stuff, right?
Yeah,
all right,
you
I'll
can
be
still
back,
be
guys.
successful though. Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it. Angelic, how are you, man? Yeah, I haven't seen you in a stream in a while.
I know.
Now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it has been a long time.
I did a new build and kind of spending some family time. Got to do that every once in a while.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Definitely need to have some time to yourself sometimes and to the family.
Yeah.
It's good. What kind of build did you make or create, I should say?
This one here is just a 120. But I kind of went a little more than what I wanted to on it, but I'm going to upgrade here pretty soon.
We all do. You're just like, no, I'm going to keep it simple. And then you end up buying like Radeons and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, I got the Radeons, fully decked out Apex. It's got everything you could have on it. Nice. Trigger system sump, all the custom pipe and all that. And
oh, awesome. Are you
it was going to be a simple build. No, I'm in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. We don't have too many reefers out there.
Yeah,
not at least in the streams that I know of.
There is. They just kind of stay in the woodworks.
Right. Crazy, man. Sorry, I'm just like chugging down some coffee.
I know you're
graveyard for too many years, and it's just a habit now. So have to have some coffee. No, that's good. So, have you run into any issues? Have you changed anything that you thought you were going to go like originally with, and then kind of switched it at the end?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the process of changing everything. I was a mixed reef. Now all the LPS is slowly getting pulled out and putting all the sticks in.
Oh, nice. So you're just going to go all sticks? Everything?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. That's good. Yeah, I like sticks. I'm just not... I like the motion still with LPS. So mine is primarily, I want to say like 80% LPS and then some encrusting and only a few softy like Zoa and no leathers, nothing big like that. It's too small of a tank, but...
Well, I think when I go to upgrade next, that the wife would take this tank over and she'll do what she wants with it.
Oh, nice.
I'll leave her some coral, let her have
it's
at
good
it.
that she's involved, though. I mean, some wives don't like to be involved. I mean, mine does, so we bought a second tank, actually. Just a small 20. She wanted to do inverts.
Ah.
And she's having a blast with that. Sea urchin and strawberry crab. I'm like, species that I can't put in my tank.
She had a strawberry crab one time. I took that thing out and I took it to an elephant. I said, "You guys can have it."
Yeah,
that thing was starting to kill everything in the tank.
I thought it was going to be a murder fest also, and this strawberry crab has been totally cool. And our pom-pom crab is like friends now with it, but kind of keeps them at bay with the pom-poms. It's kind of funny. I wish I have one picture of it, but I don't have any video. But he hasn't killed anything. She hasn't come out and like just gone on a rampage or eat zoas or nothing like that. So
See, it's amazing with my it's amazing with my wife because she don't really know a whole lot about this. Now, the water chemistry, she's smart as heck on all that. Okay, you know, she knows what can cause things to precipitate out and all that. She knows all that, the carbonate, bicarbonate, the stuff that I was never good at chemistry.
Right.
But she's really good at that. But she works in a medical profession. And she could walk into the tank and she could look in the tank and she could say, oh, I see this problem, or this looks like this is going to be a problem. And I look at it every day and I'm like, everything looks fine to me.
You guys test often at all, or is this kind of like on the fly?
I test a lot of it once a month, but the alkalinity, calcium, you know, the major three, I test Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, adjust my dosing accordingly, then test again the following Saturday just to make sure I'm on target.
Yeah,
same. Good.
I test monthly for most things. I do test ammonia once a week, which is probably the reason I want to get a Senai, just so I can do constant monitoring for that, because it does kind of, in the domino effect, lead to other things. But, you know, I've gotten to a point where most of my stuff doesn't die. So, you know, but I have sort of said, but I've always said ammonia is a major, you know, first problem indicator. So
it can be, yeah, biological, and
because if you have a die-off of something, right, aka bacteria, oh my God, exclusive, I was going to whack him right in the face tonight. There's another guy. Oh, bacteria is in the water column. No, it fucking isn't. Oh well, demonetized. Anyway, not even monetized, but you know what I mean? It's like one of those things that, no, it's not. And if you want to go Google that, you go find me a site that says it is. Right?
Well,
you know,
here's what I get asked all the time for people starting up tanks. Can I get some of your water? I said, why? It's the same water you're going to use. Yep. Well, your water's cycled. What the? Yeah. What do you mean by cycled? What is cycled water?
Yeah, exactly. You don't understand they think it's the water because the picture shows the fish in the water and the cycle that it goes through. That's why, right?
Nope. Rock, sand, media. I mean,
there you go. Death makes it best. I don't need nutrients. My tank's loaded with them. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've tried to explain this to people. When you go and you pull water out of somebody else's tank, you're taking their problems and transferring it over to yours.
Nice, Jeff.
Pretty
so
much.
You're running a calcium reactor now? That's sweet. You definitely must have enough corals to require that, because I was laughing. Somebody said, why don't you run one? I got 6 corals.
You know? Yeah, that's not going to work for 6.
It's not going to do anything. You know, Rico's tank, that you can tell Rico's tank, you just look at it, it's like, yeah, that needs a calcium reactor. That's a big-ass tank full of big-ass sticks.
I would like to have one to make my job a little easier, but I'm not at the point to where I need one yet, so I'm not going to invest in it yet. No. I'm going to wait till I need it.
Hopefully in one of the live streams, sorry to interrupt, but
not
either in yours or someone else's, if it ever comes back that topic again, is to actually let a beginner understand that the salt, alkalinity, magnesium, calcium, all that is.
You're going to do Aqua Forest? Oh, so
for a while.
Do Aqua Forest, and I've heard really good things about Aqua Forest.
You don't need to dose immediately.
I love, yeah, exactly. You know, I'm at 0.198. That's fine, Jeff. That's, in fact, I would probably tell you your nitrates are low. They're too low, right? If you actually, it was American Reefing, and I think it was American Reefing with Mike Paletta, and they did a poll of all the major coral stores like WWC, Worldwide Corals, you know, and all these guys, and asked them what their parameters were. And when they put them up, Worldwide Corals, go ahead, go look at their site, go look at what they're selling, and they're running their nitrates in their tanks at 20.
Nice.
Mike Paletta's tank, he admitted that his is at like a 60 or 80.
Yep,
super high.
Super high. Yep.
But everything looks great.
Yeah, exactly. Like my tank right now has no phosphates, no nitrates, next to nothing. Yet, funny, there's still algae in my tank. Oh God, I must now freak out and dose and chemicals and No, I'm not.
Well,
it's not happening.
Hey guys, I don't mean to jam too early. I just want to say hi and kind of introduce myself, but you know, I'll jump in one of these days, another time.
Oh, sure, right. You're welcome anytime. Bye bye. I get along with you.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good night. Take care.
You too.
All right. See you, Angelic.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks, brother. You too.
I mean, we could get in a debate about this, and I don't want to debate it, but yeah, you could dose everything with the algae in the tank, but your algae is going to consume a lot of it.
No, and that's just it. Right now, it'd be dumb. Yeah, I'd have to carbon dose and stick with it if I wanted to take it away that way. But I would probably cause problems for the corals that I have recovering from my 120. My 120, I think I've got bad nutrient, for lack of a better term, and the corals were suffering hard in there. And I have, if you watch the red turf algae one, when we figured out it wasn't red turf, that it was just a really aggressive maroon colored coralline. Mm-hmm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an urchin. I'm waiting for a good, healthy one to come in. My fish store guy is going to wait until he sees one that he thinks is doing particularly well, because mine and his water is very similar. And, basically what I'm going to do is put the urchin in there and let him just start gnawing away. But I noticed today that it's actually starting to wear itself down. So whatever it's consuming is probably running out. So, but it
usually consumes a lot of alkalinity.
Yep.
But there's other things that it's going to consume on.
That's great, Jeff. I'm happy your tank's doing well. You're talking about the Red Sea Reef Energy, the ABCD stuff?
Oh, I use that stuff.
Yeah. And I'm debating going that way, because Deathmage is doing Aquaforce, which would be a similar product. Yeah.
Yeah, the Red Sea makes good stuff. Aquaforce makes really good stuff too.
Yep. Tropic Marin, they make good stuff too. Use what works for you, right? You'll hear anybody streaming is going to say that. And it's very true, because there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to run a tank, and there's more than one way to dose stuff. Whatever's working, it works. And the ones that are in the know to test and keep an eye on your tank. And we're here for the ones that don't know any better, so we can sit there and go, no, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
I've even been asked questions here lately, people setting up a new tank of, well, how much do you dose? Well, I dose this, this, and this. Well, how much? Okay, I'm just curious of why you're asking. Well, that way I can set up a doser for mine. You're not even at that stage yet.
Nope.
Your tank's going to consume different than what mine is.
I mean, I'm not saying... Yeah, what are you testing? What's in your tank? How much coral do you have in your tank?
Well, I'm not testing. Don't ever dose anything you're not testing for.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're setting yourself up for failure right off the bat.
You got it. Oh, Deathmage. You were talking about the Marineland tanks and the seal. Yeah, that was all coming from 915 Mustang's blowout on a seal. I happened to be streaming that night when that happened, apparently. But he had a 93-gallon Marineland tank, and the top of the seal started to separate at the back of his tank.
Ooh.
And I'm like, really? I had a 60-gallon cube, but it never did that. In fact, that tank, I actually know where it went. I sold it to a friend. He sold it because he never started his tank with my custom-built cube sump in the bottom. And it's now up in... you guys are going to love the name of this place. It's in Tatamagouche.
That almost kind of sounds like Baba Ganoush.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And, but no, not at all. And mine came from a local fish store, and my seals looked great. There's one at a Pet Value, which is kind of like Pets Unlimited. It used to be, and it'd be like a PetSmart, a big box store. And I was looking at the seams on it, and I looked right at them and I went, that just looks like crap. And it floored me that it would, because it's the same company. And when you said that there's a possibility they've run factory seconds, so the seam isn't good enough, but it's sealed, that would lead me to, yeah, I guess that's why I saw that, huh? Yeah. Just messy. It's like Aqueons and Marineland, all of them. Like my favorite is the Tetras that one fish store has. Look great. They're Tetra tanks, and if you go to Walmart, it's like, I wouldn't touch that if I were you. Right? That just looks bad,
But I've seen tanks from Planet Aquariums, you know, a lot of your good builders, I've seen tanks blow out and leak and everything else from them too.
Yep. Sometimes it just happens, right?
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, I'm not a freshwater guy. Like I said, 22 days and I tore it down with dead salt. 22 days. Yeah. Like, no, that gourami's cute and all, but he's just, no, I want me a tang, you know.
I'd like to do a planted tank, and I may do one day. Just to see what I could do. I don't know.
I think for me is there's a Japanese guy that did one, and it's a sand waterfall in between two islands. There's a video on YouTube showing it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm thinking that's got to be a royal pain in the tuchus, man, to run. Like, you know. But you know, They look nice. They look beautiful. It's just not my thing. It's just I don't know. You can only look at a Tetra for so long before you're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever.
See, I remember when I first got into this hobby, I was talking to a guy and I asked him, he asked me, he said, why do you want to get into it? And my usual answer that you hear pretty common is, oh, the fish are pretty. Okay.
Yeah.
I said, what's it like to get into this hobby? He said, you really want to know? I said, yeah. He said, all right, I want you to remember this 30 years from now. Take a fistful of, just fill a fish tank full of money and set it on fire, and that's what it's like to get into the hobby.
There you go. You got it. Yeah, you're burning money without realizing you are. And I tell people, don't even bother adding it up. Like I said, when I added up the corals I lost in the course of 3 years, I'm like, wow, I could have built a whole new system. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I can see the appeal of fish only for that reason. It's so much easier to deal with. You know, and yeah, Al, you are right on the money. Planted tanks, if you like having your hands in the tank, that may be the way to go for you, because then it's perfectly reasonable to have your hands in the tank, cutting, scraping, you know, cleaning algae, moving stuff, pruning. Oh, come on. You imagine having to do that with coral? Just get in there every day and having to, oh, no, that's okay. Especially how sensitive coral is. You know.
Yeah, see, I don't put my hands in the tank unless I absolutely die or need emergency have to.
No. Yeah, I flip snails every day, and I have a stick to do it so my hands don't go in, because snails are stupid.
Yeah, they are.
My God, my zebra snails are, I'm just looking at them like, how can you fall off? What did you do? Fall asleep? You know, like, really? You were up here last night? I know you were. And now you're up here upside down, waiting for that shrimp to come over and start picking on you. You know what I mean? What happened? You know, so, yeah. So I just got to, I use an old, you know, on the blinds, the spinners, you know, to turn the open and close them. I have two of those that I put away that I cleaned. And I just stick that in there and flip, you know. Well, sometimes it's that easy. Sometimes it's like, okay, now I'm getting mad. I spent 35 seconds trying to flip you over, and you just keep sort of spinning in a circle here.
I left one empty snail shell laying on its back out in the middle of the sand, and the wife said, what are you doing that for? I said, let that be a message to the others. If you fall, that's your fate.
That's your fate. Yeah.
I'm not going after you. One job to do, and you can't even do it.
Nope. I'm watching my skunk cleaner, and he's like tempting fate with my pistol shrimp. I don't know what he's thinking. But he keeps walking in front of his burrow, and he's that pistol shrimp. His pistol's now the size of my baby finger. And I'm like, he's going to get you one of these days. And I'm just going to cry about the $35 meal. But, you know, they're dumb.
They'll work it out.
Yeah, exactly. It'll work itself out. Yeah, my blood shrimp won't even go near that side of the tank. He just won't go near him. So he's got the brains anyway.
And one of the fish I put in this tank had an altercation, you know, territory that they do for a couple of days. And the wife's sitting there watching him, and she's like, you need to stop that. I'm like, that's Mother Nature. What do you want me to do? She's like, well, do something. So I walked over to the glass. I tapped on the glass. I go, hey, you guys need to knock it off. You need to talk about what you're feeling. Do I need to be your psychiatrist here?
Bring in Dr. Phil, you know.
But it's amazing because I get around the tank, they all come up because they know that I'm always watching them, you know, making sure everything's okay. I don't bother them. They come up to the tank. She walks down here, they all scatter and hide.
You know, it's you say that. My wife does the same thing. I'll get this. Oh, honey, and I come running in thinking there's a leak or some catastrophic failure, and I'm like, what? And she's like, oh, so and so, whatever she named the fish, right, was picking on so and so, and I'm like, and what would you like me to do? I said, I can pull him out of the tank if you want, and I'll smack him around for 5 minutes. Will that make you feel better?
I'll put him in a timeout.
Yeah. And yeah, so she was in tears over that powder brown tang. I don't know if you saw that video of mine, Angelic, or not. I know some of the other ones have. And my fox face, he just was relentlessly picking on that fox face. That powder brown tang, I was so just heartbroken that he just turned into a bad guy in my tank. So
I've heard that about them, that they have a tendency to get aggressive. I mean, I've never had one. I don't know. It's just, yep. I hear stories.
Well, you know, somebody, you know, we were talking earlier, we don't like top 10s and top 5s and shit, right? We don't.
Right.
Right. I'm personally, but there are fish that I will warn people, you know, and it's like, and damsels aren't on the list. And I was like, why not? And I'm like, because that's just known. Right. I said, there's a reason they got dam in their name.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I said, but did you know that clownfish are damsels?
Right.
And what? Yeah. I said,
and they get mean too.
Some of them do, man. You ever seen a Clarkie pissed off? You know, I've been bit by an Ocellaris. Really good too. He actually got me. I named him Odin.
I had a tomato clown. You couldn't put your hand in the tank.
Yep.
That's pretty good, Mage, because that reminds me of the old saying. I forgot what movie it was from. Fish are friends, not food.
Oh yes, yeah. Finding Nemo.
Yeah. Use your words, not your fins. That's pretty good. I like that.
Use your words, not your fins. I'm glad I saw that. Yeah, you know what, Death Mage, you might like this one maybe. A guy said to me once, fish are like kids. If you watch them like they're on a playground, some are dicks, some are great. You know, it's just the way it is, right? My orchid dotty back, he killed a Lubeck's wrasse in 24 hours on me. Just right from the moment he went in the tank, he relentlessly pursued that fish till he killed it. Bit all his fins off, the whole 9 yards. Now, I put the tangs in, nothing. Not a thing. Now, okay, the powder brown tang then turned. I had to remove him, whatever the case may be. So I just got a Lubeck's wrasse for my wife. I did a video on that too. And I love them. I do love Lubeck's wrasse. I mean, if I were to get another wrasse, it would probably have to be a mystery wrasse, right? I just love the coloration and that way they swim and they're bent. Right, it's the only way to put it. You know, they're just pretty fish. Yeah, now I got a Royal Grama saltwater, Jeff. She's huge. I mean, she's flipping huge. So if you watch the vid, you'll see her. And I mean, for a Royal Grama, she's like at least 5-10 times bigger than that orchid dotty back. And usually you see them, they're about that size. So she had a nice healthy tank. I got her from a 180. Went and rescued her up because the guy was moving. I got her for $20 and put her in. She hid for weeks on us. And then finally now she's still kind of a skitterish fish. But you know, there's just, you know, I was waiting for her to snap too because the orchid did, but I mean, I wasn't there watching 24 hours, but I'm assuming that little thug is who killed that Lubeck's wrasse on me. So your yellow tang is Zoolander? Nice. Okay, cool. I named mine Lemon. I don't have him anymore. He went mean on me. Same goby. What goby does Mad Dog have? I forget. Sorry. Or are you talking about comb tooth blenny or no? Hold on. She has some. You know what? I think my goby, blue spot goby. I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, and that's just it, Jeff. Sometimes you'll get that. My two tangs got along great. I put the hippo tang and the powder brown in at the same time, and my clowns of all fish were the ones they picked on the hippo tang to the point they made him play dead in the corner. And I thought he was dead. I thought, oh great, here we go. I lost a $100 fish. But no, he swam off there at some point, and then the next day that was all resolved because Hansel and Gretel, that's what my clowns' names are, my Darwins. They settled there. This is our turf. Stay out of our turf, right? And it was fine. And then the powder brown sort of spun out about 3 days later. And if you watch the videos, I have a video. It's called To Catch a Tang, and you can actually see him. And he was like at least 10 times an hour more going after this poor guy. He just wouldn't leave him alone. Viciously going after him, like that fox face. Rabbitfish, he spines out and trying to kill him actively. Actually, I have a starry blenny, and my wife named him Grumpy. Yeah.
Yeah, my purple tang and that metallic foxface, they just literally hover together, cruise together. They're inseparable. It's amazing.
Yeah. My new Lubbock's wrasse is with my my two other clowns in the 20. I have a Wyoming white and a flurry, and they're mated. And he's in there cruising with them, so that's all good.
And my clown, little porker, waddles, doesn't even swim. Tries to keep up with the Anthias. Good luck on that.
Oh, by the way, this guy's tank is a 20-gallon tank. Does anybody want to know how many fish he has in it?
I'm going to assume probably 10 or 15.
Thankfully, not anymore. And yeah, Starry Blennies get some big. I had a Grumpy before. And unfortunately, with the ick outbreak, he was the first one who must have had it. Try finding ick on a Starry Blenny. Right? Good luck with that. But yeah, if he was big. He was probably a good 5 inches, maybe a good inch in diameter. He was a big fish. But this guy's tank, he has 2 clowns, 3 damsels, some poor pink leertail Anthias in there. This is a 20-gallon tank with a hang on the back filter too, by the way. And a lawnmower blenny. Oh, anyway, and he had more, he said. And I'm thinking, you had fish die and you don't think there's a problem? Dying fish isn't normal, man. My fish lived through ick, lived through copper, lived through everything. I lost 3 fish out of like 20. And the 3 that died, 2 jumped out while they were in treatment. The last guy, I don't know what happened to that orange striped cardinal, but he lasted a week in the tank and everyone else was fine, but he did pass on me, so. Yeah, he had, I think at one point he said he had 16 fish in a 20-gallon tank.
Where did they have room to swim?
I don't know. I'm wondering if they all just did the Chinese or Japanese, subway station thing and just, oh, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, exactly, Death Mage. I lose my fish to jumps. I actually covered my tank. Actually, there you go. And I don't know, I'm going to pump my own channel because this is my freaking stream. If there is a video of me resuscitating a wrasse that jumped out of my tank and she was out for an hour and a half. So I tell everybody, if your fish jump, don't just throw them out. Oh, it went in the overflow. Really? How? Mine got in the overflow and it just swam around the overflow.
I had one do that, and I couldn't figure out why my flow meter quit working.
Yeah.
And I had to tear it all apart after a couple of days because I kept looking and looking for this fish. Yeah, tore it all apart, and there he was. Well, there's no saving this one.
No, he was dead, was he? Yeah. Oh, that's a bummer. I had a clown goby swim into the intake on my BH1000 Reef Octopus HOB skimmer. And I guess the wife was sitting there, and all of a sudden she heard that noise of something caught in the skimmer. And she shut it down. and she plugged it back in. And unfortunately, this is what killed him, right?
Yeah.
So he hit it. She turned it off in seconds, which he might have lived through that. And then she turned it back on, turned it back off, turned it back on, turned it back off. So she left it off. I come home, I turned it back on, turned it back off. When I took it apart, I found his little marine body, and I'm like, oh man, I don't even know how he got in there, but I ended up having to put netting over, the plastic. Oh, geez, what am I talking about? The plastic netting that you can make a cover out of. You know what I'm talking about? The UV stuff.
Oh yeah.
Right, and I just cut a piece big enough to go around the vents of the cup, and then the wife sewed it up so that it would hold on with the fishing line, right? And I had that slide over, and I could slide it off, remove the cups for cleaning, and then slide it back down, right? And that's how I kept the fish out of that until I sold it. And the guy I sold it to, I am not kidding, I sold it to him pretty cheap. I sold it to him for $100. It was basically new. I had put a brand new impeller on it too to get it working right again. And he walked outside and he dropped the entire body on the concrete. So he just wrecked the box of the skimmer. He's like, I can just glue that, right? And I went, no. You could try. I said, but it holds almost 5 gallons of water when it's full, man. Yeah. Oh, your overflows where your skimmer. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so you have a hang on the back skimmer that's in the overflow, or he went down the overflow and then got sucked into the skimmer?
I've had that happen, Jeff. I had a cucumber go down the overflow. I couldn't figure out how the heck he got down it, but he was just crawling around the skimmer section of the sump. How the heck did you get out of this?
You're some lucky too, boy, because a cucumber gets sucked into your skimmer. That would have just been bad karma.
Yeah. So he come out of the tank and I donated him to the local fish store.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably going to be better off with you guys.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm not meant to have one of these.
There's a rumor going around that somebody here wound up with a blue dragon nudibranch. And I'm like, well, no, but if I can see a picture of it, I'll tell you for sure. I said, and on top of that, he's playing with fire because that's one of the most venomous creatures on Earth, right? Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about? That blue, I think it's called the blue dragon nudibranch. Hold on, let me double check that for sure. Now I feel like I'm dumb. The blue dragon sea slug. Sorry, I'm a dummy. Or blue glaucus.
I've never seen one.
Oh, there's my wife. Just a sec here, guys. Hello. You ready to go? Okay. 2 seconds. All right. All right. So apparently my wife's ready. If you guys don't mind keeping it going, I'm only literally probably going to be about 5 minutes. She only works up the road, so it does look cool, doesn't it? That blue dragon sea slug. Yeah. So Angelic, if you don't mind hanging in the channel here and just saying I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
We'll be here.
Sounds good.
But what really got me on the cucumber, Jeff, is I had an inky box on that tank with the cover on the inky box, and somehow he got through all that. And he was pretty good size. It still amazes me to this day. Yeah, I have them do that. They'll get about 3/4 of the way up, and then I'll just watch them fall. And I chuckle every time. Yeah, that'd be interesting to figure out how they got down there. I agree, Jeff. Once it goes down in the sump, you're gonna live or die down there.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to go get the wife from work there. She was doing testing on a new system. So
That's all good.
you know what? It's funny that I just read Deathmage. You had a problem with your cat trying to get in your tank. I have a picture of my my young male. He's a big cat, he's about 20 pounds, standing on the corner of my 120 when I had no lidding whatsoever. In your Pico. Oh, what a little shit. Kind of hard to keep them out of that unless you do put a cover on it, right? Sorry, sucking on a coffee here. No. So we got Jeff, Deathmage, Angelic, and me. And Jeff, you need to go get some sleep. He probably already left, did he? Looks like he did. Yeah. I run a pretty weird sleep schedule, so unemployment helps with that too. So somebody said, you must have more time for your tanks. I said, it's maddening. He goes, why? I said, because I don't have the money for all the time I have for my tanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do a lot. Like, man, everyone, you know, I try hard enough. Like I said, I'm a big proponent. Keep your hands out unless they need to be in there. And all the normal stuff. But, you know, I got past that. And maybe you guys can back me up on this. You know, I know there's only two of us, or three of us in here, sorry. But when you first start, that first year, it's almost like you incessantly feel a need to get in and change things all the time. Does anybody else feel like that when they first started? Like, I got to change that rock work. That's pissing me off, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I should have done this, or I need to do this, or this is going to look better here. Let me move this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody goes through it.
Yeah, Deathmage, your cat fell in. My male Jinx, my buddy. That's my. He's not with me all the time. He's just my very calm cat. Pick him up. He just purrs. He's not a mad. Doesn't try to get away. He fell in a tank once. Right. Hey, what's up, ADU? You know, and Al's still here, or did Al go too? It says I got 4. It must be Al. Not saying nothing. Probably fell asleep with the wrench. Oh, is that how you do? You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. You probably saw if you look at the big tank in my vids, the 120, that was more where it went. That was easy. That's the only way to put it. That it stayed. But if you look at the 20-gallon tank, that was my wife's. And the reason I had the algae, she sat there for hours cutting and placing the rock to make those shapes. I know you're in Australia. Well, I mean, I think you heard me before. I'll do bad jokes about Australia if you like. We'll throw another shrimp on the bobby and all that good stuff. Actually, yeah, exactly. That's not a knife. Yeah.
Yeah, you knew where I was going with that one.
I did. You know what's really funny? How many people thought that new Australia tourism commercial that they did the Crocodile Dundee 3 kind of, reboot thing with was going to be a real movie? People are actually really mad. They wrote the production company that did that saying that they thought it was cruel. Did you see it? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Chris Hemsworth is in it. Hugh Jackman. Danny McBride plays Paul Hogan's illegitimate son that was born in America.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look up Crocodile Dundee trailer. Trust me, it'll show up. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're not making that movie, Al. That was a Tourism Australia commercial. Yeah. It's too bad. If they, you know how much it would cost to make that movie to have that kind of star power. If you watch the trailer, you'll see how many big stars are in it. Margot Robbie's in it. Hugh Jackman, Chris Hemsworth, Liam Hemsworth, Danny McBride. There's a couple other ones I forget their names. That Rose, the one from that played the mute assassin in John Wick 2. She's in it because she's Australian. Yeah. Oh, it would make a ton of money if they did it right and they dialed McBride back enough. Because let's face it, a couple of his movies, he was good in the new Alien movie. Not Prometheus. What's the new one? I forget. It was kind of lame, but yeah, Ridley Scott needs to be beaten with an oar. If you're going to make a new Alien movie, don't focus on the bloody engineers. Focus on the bloody aliens. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm just happy they're coming out with Super Troopers 2. I've been waiting for that to come out.
It's funny that was crowdfunded to be made too, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually raised the money online. Just somebody started it and said, if we raise the money, will you guys do it? And they're like, sure. It's like, well, it worked.
I think that's how they did the first one.
Nope, the first one, they put their own money in it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they put their own money in it. That's how they got it, yeah. And yeah, you're right, Alien Covenant, ADU, you're right. And it was all right, but it was kind of lame, and I don't know. We expect so much because Alien and Aliens are fantastic. I liked Alien 3. People piss on that. I liked it. It had a nice mood, And now Sigourney Weaver's trying to get Ridley Scott on board to let them make one where they kind of skip Alien 3 and just go from there. So from Aliens to that, instead of doing Alien 3 and 4 like they did, that'd be kind of cool if they could get that made. But I don't know how they do it with the timeline because Sigourney, you don't look as young as you used to, sweetheart. Yeah. Although I did love her in Paul. She played a good kind of, well, basically it was just her and Working Girl again. Anytime you look, the way they change the rules, we'll all be lucky if we ever get monetized. Right? What do you need now? 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 viewing hours in a month? I cannot live stream for that long. I could try, though. Need to get a few more people in here. I need to get some of the regulars in here. Just a few. Not too many. I'd like to get Murph in here. We usually have pretty good debates. Has anybody got a favorite fish? Like just absolutely must have fish in their tank?
That's a good question.
And let me quantify that with one you can have in your tank. Not a dream fish, one that you can actually have in your tank. I'll quantify it with that. All right. See you later, ADU.
I think I've got it. Either the metallic fox face because of the coloration or the purple tank.
When you say metallic, do you mean a magnificent fox face?
No, metallic.
A metallic. I'll have to look that one up. I'm not familiar with that one.
They look similar. I mean, I decided I was trying to choose between the black tang or the purple, and I just went with the purple. I like its coloration.
I could not let my wife see that. She'll be telling me to replace Mr. Fox with that.
Where it has the metallic gray on the side.
Yeah, and then the red spines.
Yeah, he's real crisp in his coloration. They got him in, and the store I go to, I've known them for years. I was looking at them, and I never buy when they first get them in. she won't sell them when they first get them in. She'll make you wait a week or two so they can make sure that everything's good before they sell it to you, which
Yep.
to me is a really good business thing.
It is. Yeah. For
You know,
me, it's probably Lubbock's wrasse. I'm a big wrasse
Yeah, they're
fan.
nice.
Yeah. What's my biggest pet peeve? I got many, Al. How would you like me to go? I got a few. The move to automation, I guess, kind of ticks me off a bit. I like automation for some things, but I'm finding that there's too many guys that now have become reliant on that versus, visually for me, I check my tank out every day. If it was automated, I may not do that versus having a look and making sure everything is working.
My biggest pet peeve is bad advice.
Yeah. Yeah, that would run pretty close to the top for me. Yeah.
Or somebody, well, and I include this in with bad advice, but, somebody asks another individual a question and that individual don't know. So they're going to fake an answer or whatever, or get upset that you've got to do it my way, Relax a little bit.
Yeah. Al's asked me, well, for example, okay, so there's some guys there that are running bubbling. So they have it automated with an Apex. I'm almost going to be positive that it turns the bubbler on and then turns off or turns on the skimmer for that time or whatever the case may be, however that works. I haven't really gotten into that yet. And you would almost have to, because if you're going to run that at night, well, you're going to bed. So you need that to shut back off at some point. It's almost like, and that's okay. I'm kind of okay, because if that stuff doesn't shut off, it's not necessarily bad. You can physically just turn it off in the morning. My problem is like, if you look at Apex now, they're trying to bring out or have brought out a system called Trident, which is a testing unit. And I mean, yes, yay. I mean, it really would be great. But what's to say it's calibrated correctly and doing its job correctly? You still would have to physically test with your own stuff to make sure those readings are correct. You know what I mean? It's like a pH probe. You do have to take it out every other month and dip it and make sure it's staying on target and not showing you that it's 8.1 when actually it's 6.8. Although we know you'd see that. You see what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that you would see that visually you can say, no, something's wrong. But that's where automation is a downfall, because there are people that won't. They just walk by their tank one day and everything's dead and they're like, what happened?
Well, Al, I could touch base on this question myself with people become reluctant on automation. And this is a big thing going on now, is if you looked at Apex come out with their doser, which is integrated with the Apex, all controlled through that. And as much as I love the technology, and yes, I do run an Apex, it all started with the heater failure, so I wanted more control over that. If I fail safe to shut it down, which the way I go, it just go big or go home. If your doser is dependent upon your Apex and your Apex craps out or the brain goes bad, what happens to your dosing?
Yeah. And the same could be said, what if your doser just did that anyway?
Right.
You know
and
what
if
I mean?
You're reluctant, and if you're relying on your doser to do everything for you and you really don't know how to do it by hand because you're not used to doing all the testing all the time and everything, you're going to kind of throw yourself into a bad position.
Everybody hates testing, Deathmage. I am the laziest tester on the planet. I'm fairly regular, but I'll sit down and curse the whole time I'm doing it. Actually, all my test kits are literally sitting to the left of me on the floor here, because I was mad because I couldn't find my pH in my copper test kit, so I'm guessing I lent them to somebody. But anyway, I bought a new pH probe tester, right? Handheld one. You stick it in the tank to a certain point, and it does it for you. I still haven't set it up because I'm not that worried about my pH, but it was $30. I'm like, what the heck? I'm going to buy that. I hate doing the drop. I hate that. Just drives me to distraction. And the one for Red Sea for magnesium is extremely infuriating. I got to do 5 drops over 1 minute and 15 seconds while shaking it the entire time and putting a drop in every 15 seconds. Oh, that just drives me nuts. Sorry.
Yeah.
It does. It just drives me right to distraction, because what if I screw it up, and I have screwed it up?
Then you got to start all over again.
All over again. It's like, God fucking damn it. Right? Like, why did you talk to me? I'll starts a fight with my wife. I don't like anything that makes me fight with my wife.
Yeah, because you never win that fight.
Nope, I lose every time. Women win. No, they don't. Some do, and I've met them. All the respect in the world for that. My wife's great. She's actually very supportive. She loves this hobby too. Yeah. It may be funny that she makes me try to stop fights between fish, but I'll give you a funny story about, remember we were talking about that earlier. So my pistol shrimp was snapping at a hermit crab that we had just put in the tank. And this poor hermit crab didn't know what to do. And you could see his shell getting shot at the glass. This guy was hitting him so hard. I don't know how he wasn't dead yet. And she made me reach in, pick him up, and move him somewhere else. And when I did that, my big crab, I call Dr. Doom, my big metallic electric blue hermit, Marshall Island hermit, call it what you want, come down and ate him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, well, honey, sorry. But no, she sticks with it. She knows. I said, welcome to reef keeping. This is what they do in the wild.
Oh, yeah.
Her favorite thing, I'll bring it up because this, I think, was what hooked her. There's a video from, I think it's Blue Planet is where it came from, and it shows a bunch of a giant conch attacking another conch and eating them, and then a bunch of yellow hermit crabs waiting around for it to finish eating it so they could steal the shell.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
And the one bold guy who climbs up on the conch, jumps in the shell, waits for, he's already releasing the shell, but he's waiting for that moment he can just hop in before everyone else. And he hops in it, and the minute he gets dropped, you just see him bolt for it and take off so they don't steal it from him or kill him. And that was the greatest thing I ever saw. I really was. And she loves that. That's like one of her favorite vids. Cheeky little bugger.
Yeah. You talk about having, big cojones on them.
Good thing I don't need a heater. Well, Death Mage, where do you live that you don't need a heater? Because if you live in a place you don't need a heater, that usually means you need a chiller. Oh yeah, inverts and fish are the best part for me. I like coral, but I'm a euphyllia nut, but I love coral. But you're running a sarcastic tone. Yeah, there we go. You live in the South. Yeah, so you don't need a chiller though. Well, I guess if you had air conditioning, you really wouldn't. But if the air conditioning ever failed, it'd be bad. Yeah. I'm happy for you because let me tell you, heater failure is probably the #1 killer in the hobby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can actually, I do believe I got a part of a video where I talk about my wife got electrocuted by a heater in my tank. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Al, she's actually right. If you live in the South, right, in the States, you're below a certain point where in the wintertime it's even 65 outside. That means that you're probably going to heat your house. Like she's in a place that the actual ambient temperature in the house usually takes care of it. Usually, I say that with a grain, with a light tone because, But it's kind of funny. I think I'm misunderstanding this whole thing, so just shoot me. Yeah. I'm getting you. Go ahead. Oh,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as far as heaters go, I don't know if you guys are aware of it. I'm pretty sure they're international. The Cobalt Neotherms, the digital ones. BRS tested them. So I know they're in the States if BRS tested them. I'm actually going to get a couple of them for my 120, and I'm going to put one in my 20 because I just want something that does the temp thing, and I'm still going to hook it up, of course, but to my Reef Keeper. But I just know that that's going to help out making sure my tank stays solid because I'm in Canada, and yes, I must have a heater.
Yeah, I run Phoenix heaters, but here in the Midwest, even though we get the climate changes, where my tank sits in the house is in the basement, finished basement.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much stays the same temperature year round, maybe a degree or two change. My heaters very rarely ever turn on, but I have them just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, Death Mage, he's got it right on. If you tried to go by ambient temperature in my house, that would be 15 degrees Celsius, which means that you would double it and add 30. So the average temperature in my house at most times is 60, which, well, we'd have a lot of dead fish and coral. But I no longer need to turn on the heat in my living room or in my dining room because my 2 tanks actually heat the room.
So the humidity?
Yeah, the humidity because of the way it actually activates, and the tanks are basically just big heaters, right, when they're up that high. So what I end up doing is turning up the heat a little bit so that it kind of balances the two out. But I think we're going to actually end up having to hook up dehumidifiers because I'm noticing a little more mold growing on the windows because of the excess condensation inside the house. Humidity causing condensation, I should say. It's not a big deal, but I don't want to get sick either. So,
yeah.
Nope. I'm not. It's funny. I'm really happy. Thanks for coming in, guys. I do appreciate it. Trust me. I'm sitting here thinking I got 4 people tonight. I'm pretty cool with that.
That's good conversation.
Well, we had 10 in here the last time I ran the stream, and it was great. 10 people is just about right because you could have a conversation, things got answered. We had the odd person pop in, and that was great. But I find once you pass about 20, it gets a little too frenetic in chat for the Hangout to actually keep up. So you end up with 10 people in the Hangout, and they're doing their own thing and barely ever talking to the chat. So my goal of being to educate people on tanks gets lost with talking about the weather. Like I live in Canada, you know what I mean? Like in other places in the world, when it's snowy and they're sliding around, they're all nervous and tense and screaming. And, in Canada, it's here, hold my coffee, watch this.
Yeah. See, you talk about, I was mentioning weather change. Yesterday here it was 60 degrees. Today it's 30 degrees and snowing.
Yep. That's about
and
right.
Then by the end of the week, it's going to be back up in the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it was in the plus here for the last week. It would dip a little bit at night, but it never really got below 0, which for you guys, I think it's 34 or 32. So tonight, I have Midwest temperatures tonight. I think it's 0 right now, and it's supposed to drop to -14. So
that's a little too cold for me.
Yeah, it's going to get cold for a couple of days. I knew that was coming. I think everyone's like, "Oh, we're going to have such a mild winter." And it's like, no, welcome to Canada. It's March. It's going to get effing cold, right? We have to have that snap. And the worst part is the trees started to bud already. It got that warm.
Yeah, our grass started turning green. I said, "Oh crap! Now I got to mow the yard."
Yeah, the other crappy part of housework, right?
I know. I don't mind.
No, if you got to ride on a mower, it's kind of fun.
Well, the wife, she's got allergies and she's allergic to just about everything. She can't even touch a tree; she'll break out. So that's my kind of little get out of the house thing, and she does the cleaning inside the house while I do outside.
Yeah. 100 people in chat would be nuts, Al. I don't even think I can handle that. I get that's like DIY Joey, man. You watch his live stream, and I think I watched it one night. There was 585 people. It's like, holy jeez, that's but if you watch his live stream, he's not really doing a hangout. He's doing a show at that point. He'll read it as it's going. He'll try to answer questions, right? But even he, when I talked to him, said, I've actually met Joey a few times, right? I'm close enough. He's in Truro, Nova Scotia. He's only like 3 hours away. But I bumped into him at One Fish, Two Fish, his favorite store, with air quotes. Yeah. And it's, you got to remember, it's small here, right? When I say small, like Halifax, Nova Scotia, Dartmouth, where he goes, that city only has about 400,000 people in the general area. And that's the heavily populated zone. Like my city at night, I'm not kidding, but drops below what we call town level. 50,000 or less is a town here, right? And during the day, it might be 72,000 people. So, take that as you will. Like Halifax, my whole province is only the population of Halifax. Close to it, something around about that. So that's why there's not a lot of fish stores and everything. What do you want? Sorry, my cat, my female, my Sookie is bugging me here. She likes to reach up behind my chair and claw my back to get my attention. I don't care. She doesn't touch my fish tanks. That's all I care about.
That's all right. I'll trade you. The wife's dog likes to headbutt me in the crotch when he wants my attention. I don't know where he learned that one from.
Yeah. Is it a big one like my Rottweiler was? Yeah.
Well, he's a German Shepherd. He's about a year old. Yeah.
That's good enough. Asian Air. Al, listen, it's funny? The freshwater thing. I just don't get it. And you need a massive tank. I mean, you look at Joey's tank. That's about right for arowana. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can keep a majority of them in, like, was it 300 gallons? They say is good size for them. But I just don't get it. I just see, something to put some butter and salt on. I know that's odd that I look at freshwater that way, but I don't eat lobster. That makes you guys feel any better. I eat shrimp, though. Yeah. I get it. No, you know what? It is. They do have a way of swimming. Like I said to somebody once, I think the difference between saltwater and freshwater is much more into how the fish move. Saltwater is really into what they look like. We're superficial. Beauty is, skin deep for us, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I know they are. In fact, I've met a few fish that are dumb, and I've met a few fish that are really smart. Yeah. My female clown, Gretel, she actually has a way she'll do something. She knows I'll give her food. I'll reach in and give her treats. And every time she sees me, if I go to the right side of the tank, she will come up and kind of do like a present, and then she'll do her little dance. And she'll wiggle like she's initiating mating. And the wife thinks it's hilarious. And every time she goes, you feed her every time. And I'm like, well, she does it. I guess I've somehow trained her, or she's trained me to do it. Right? So,
yeah. Who trained who there?
Who trained who? Yeah. And that's why I think I understood poor Joey when Buddy died. I get it. There's going to be a couple of fish that I know when I lose them that it's going to heartbreak me a little bit. Yeah.
Well, you have them long enough and you raise them, they become part of your family.
Yep. My clowns I've had since they were the size of my thumb, right? Like just little things. And now they're not huge yet. And I don't know if they ever will, because they're just Ocellaris Darwins, but they'll get a little bigger. Yeah. But, and now the new guys, the Wyoming White and the Flurry, Odo and Dax. And I told the wife, you got the wrong couple. I said, shouldn't that be Odo and Kira? She goes, yeah, but Kira don't have markings. She's got ridges. Like, okay. So why didn't you name the Wyoming White Wharf instead? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely you shouldn't name your fish. But we do. Some of us do. Some of us don't. That's cool. Yeah. I didn't know that. Actually, that they pick up on moods. They say that.
I believe it.
I would. Yeah, if they're big enough, you would think they would, I guess.
I would be interested to figure out how or find out how they can pick up on a mood, but I don't know if it's by body language or
maybe it's magnetic fields. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
My favorite is the truth of it is, how does a salmon know how to get back after being in the ocean where he was spawned out of a river? That's the one that floors me every time. There's a mystery of nature. How does a salmon know after leaving a river in BC, a stream, and traveling all the way to the ocean? How does he know how to swim, and she get all the way back to the almost exact same stream they came from? How?
I've heard stories of, like dogs being dropped off miles from their home.
Yep.
And come right back home.
Yeah. Oh no, we know with pets, or I guess domesticated pets. I've heard that story. I've heard cats traveling hundreds of miles to find their owners, right? Although, let's be truthful, right? You can look at, you ever see the meme? I love talking about memes, right? Did you ever see the meme and it shows like a skunk and it says stink panda? It's all these cute names and a cat comes up and it just says asshole. And it's true. My cats, there's times it's like, you jerk, why'd you do that? Because I can. Yeah. Yeah. Did we lose Death Mage? Is she just listening to us, or? No, she's still here, I think. It's 4 people. I actually have a question for her if she's still there. And it probably was already asked. That ladies' night was pretty good, actually. Rico's chat, I found that interesting. To a degree. Just listening. You're gaming. What are you gaming? What are you playing? What's your game? I play World of Warcraft and Overwatch. But do you find, Death Mage, as a woman in the hobby, a bias when you go into local fish stores? And when I say bias, I guess I should clarify that. Like, where's your husband? League of Legends. Ooh. I play Jinx all the time. Where do you think I get the name for my cat? And I like the name Jinx, so that's why I play Jinx. Yeah. But coming back to that, do you find when you walk into the fish store, it's almost like they want to say, oh yeah, where's your husband? Like he's the one who runs the tank. Do you ever find that kind of bias? Okay, so it's just never happened to you that way, because there's a shop in Halifax called AFK Reef, and Brenda runs it. Her husband started the store, but she actually is the one that runs it. And I think that's just fantastic, because you can almost see the guys that are new come in, and they're like, oh yeah, you work here? She's like, I own the store. And she just says it very polite. She never gets me. Well, she's Canadian. We are polite most of the time, trust me, but there are times we are not. Yeah, exactly. Like my wife is a hardcore gamer. She plays World of Warcraft like I do. She runs my guild. My guild's the oldest guild on the server, because I've been playing for like 10, almost 12 years, almost since it started. I came in just before Burning Crusade dropped, and I started the guild, and now that guild's been the same guild forever, and I don't know if it's still there, because we both have stopped playing. She's still in, and I think we're still going. But I'm probably not going to get back until Battle for Azeroth drops. Yeah. No, I love women in my guild. Always took a girl every time because they care more about what they're actually doing without being too elitist to jerk. Which leads into my next thing. That's another thing in this hobby I have bumped into. I don't know about you, Al. I know freshwater, Lisa said it's kind of like that. It's that elitist jerk mentality that comes on where you say things, but it's very like backhanded comments. You should know this. Why don't you know this? I know this, but that's not what's said, right? What about you, Angelic?
Yeah, I've run into that time or two.
Yeah. And you're just sort of like, it's that, again, stunned, like, okay.
Well, I've always had this bad habit, and I don't know where I got it from, and I need to stop. I know it's a bad habit, but I've got this thing where people treat me like I'm stupid, then I'm going to act like I'm stupid. I'm going to let you believe that I'm stupid, but I'm going to politely, professionally prove to you that you're wrong.
Yeah. I have a story if you guys want to hear it. It's not fish tank related, but it's in the same vein, I guess. I was a musician professionally for 30 years, almost 30 years. Started when I was 16. I went in the military for 2.5 years. That kind of stalled me. I never stopped playing guitar and singing, but that definitely puts a crimp in playing live. And when I got out, I kind of hardcore went into it and stayed there. And I'll tell you, I wanted to get up and jam with a band, and that attitude, right? Because we were letting people up to jam, so I thought, I'll get up and jam a tune or two. Something simple like "Moving On Over" by George Thorogood or something like that, something easy. And oh yeah, you played, yeah. Well, we'll see if we can get you on. I'm like, okay, and I was at the music store the next day and was whizzing around on whatever guitar, just trying something out. And I felt a tap on my shoulder and was like, "Oh man, I'm really sorry that I didn't get you up to play." And I went, "Uh-huh." He goes, "You're awesome. I, didn't really figure that you would be. You know what it's like." And I'm like, "Uh-huh." So about 5 years later, I was playing with a band, and that same fella from that band was at the club, and he's like, "Oh man, that's awesome. You guys are great. You should let me up to jam." And I went, "Yeah, if we get around to it."
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of the few times I got to do a little comeuppance on somebody that did that. I try not to do that, but there's going to be in the music business. It's a little different. This is my gig, not your gig. It's a different idea, but the elitist mentality. Oh, if you play in a band and you've ever walked around with these people, there is a real gunslinger attitude too, especially to guitar players. They walk in, you can almost hear the. You can hear it. I can do that better than you. Like, okay, but I'm the guy getting paid to play tonight, man. Book your band in and do it your way. It's the same thing with this hobby. You got your way of doing it. I'm going to do it this way. It's working for me. And Deathmage, that is awesome. Used to stream on Twitch, eh? Is there reefing stuff on Twitch? There's got to be, right? There's got to be. There's got to be. Yeah, you can tell it's getting late. We're all getting a little quiet, and I'm rambling like an ass. Yeah. Start bringing Go ahead.
Oh, I would assume that there is stuff on Twitch.
You would think, eh? Because I know I just did the Canadian thing, didn't I? Eh? I was laughing. If you haven't met her yet, you will. Lisa Love Aqua 333. She's up in Ontario, and we got asked about that one night there not that long ago. Do we all say A? And it's like, we don't all say it. It's mostly Newfoundland and Northern Ontario that's really prevalent. And we all do it, but it's how much, right? Like Newfoundland, you'll go there and they'll say things to you like, "Don't be contrary there, boy," blah, 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 blah. You're getting all persnickety. And you're like, what? What are you saying to me, man? Right? You know what I mean, boy? Hey, and it's their colloquialism of their speech. We say it. There are tons of people on Twitch now. Dan, really? Dan? Well, I remember YouTube having a few guys that were doing dance stuff and gals, so I guess that would fit. And I guess his question is my question too. Is it both? There are people showing you how to do dance moves, or they just dance? I'm curious. Now I might have to go look that up. Oh, coffee, I love you.
But thank you for touching base on the A part, because I've always wondered what that means.
It's the best way to describe what A is, like, you know what I mean, Vern?
Okay.
It means almost the same thing. Like, so I was out the other day, right? And it when it's Northern Ontario and Newfoundland, it's just there. It's ingrained. Everyone else uses it. It's almost a you know what I mean. So I was out, and I got in the bar and I got in a fight, and I mollycocked this guy. And I don't even know what his problem was. That's where it'll come from.
Okay, because the first time I ever heard it in person, I thought the guy said "hey" to me, and I just looked at him. I went, "What?
What exactly?"
Said, what? And I was like, "Oh, I thought he said hey." He's like, "No."
Yeah. And then when they talk about the accent, we say a boot. And so I've never said a boot in my life, but the way we say about, I guess, sounds like that. We pronounce the out proper English. Yeah.
Well, it's like the northeastern states, like Maine and Boston, places like that.
Yep.
They don't pronounce their R's in a lot of words.
Yeah, or they say roof. They say roof, not roof.
Yeah.
It's the rud, not the road. Things like that.
We went up on vacation, and the guy was asking us about a car, but he didn't pronounce the R at the end,
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Speak English. What are you talking about? He's like, well, you guys speak funny. I'm like, yeah, because we use all of our letters.
All your letters, yep. Yeah, we even pronounce the silent ones. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what's the big one that we know of? I mean, the southern states are easy. You can always tell when someone's from the deep south, below the Mason-Dixon line or whatever it is. And then the other one is Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin, Minnesota. Right? Oh, yeah. And they got that drawl Fargo, right? They don't all speak like that.
No.
Right? That's a very particular region. I think where the Mennonites and the Amish and all that blah, blah, blah was that, that accent's there, right? And it's Germanic. That's why it's like that. It's old German that's broken down straight to English now, I guess, from what a guy was telling me.
Every time I've been on vacation somewhere, somebody's always said the people from the Midwest sound hick or country. What the hell does that mean?
Well, you got a guy sitting there going, yeah, man, we're going to get ourselves a bear. Yeah, okay, I sound, hick. Okay. Right.
What are you talking about? What do you mean by hick or country?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I'm fascinated to always travel and learn different cultures and the different ideas. I try not to be so self-absorbed in my way of thinking of, well, the way that I live around here, that's all there is. And, I love to learn about the influences in our everyday life. And, it's interesting.
Sorry, wife's making me a reminder of something here. Just a sec. We were one of our travels down to Halifax there, dealing with all the stuff I was talking about earlier with my grandmother's affairs. There was a gas station we went into, and they had the Nutella, but the bottle is like literally like, you ever see those little jam jars? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The little tiny jar of it. It's almost like a taste of it.
Yeah.
it was Nutella in a jar that small, but it looked just like the big jar. So my wife said to remind her to take the one we bought for a present for one of her friends tomorrow. You don't need to write that down. I'll remember that. I'm thinking, no, I won't.
Nope. Come tomorrow, you'll think, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah. Why is that in the car? Oh, yeah. You were supposed to take that with you. You forgot that, honey. But what I wanted to do, and the reason I told her to get it, is if you go to Costco, you can get the big monster bloody one of it. It's huge, just huge. So I want to get one and put the little one next to the other one and say that one's the baby. When people ask,
am I the only one that? I think I'm the only one that walks into Costco and thinks, why does somebody need 5 pounds or 5 gallons of mayo or ketchup?
You haven't been to my house. Yeah.
I mean, I love mayo and all. Don't get me wrong, but man, I couldn't go through all that in a month.
Well, unfortunately, I live in a gross household. Mayo gets used on French fries and stuff.
No, that's good.
Yeah,
I could do that.
That's a French thing, right? It's like when I lived in Germany when I was a teenager. My stepfather got posted over there, Canadian military, and it was absolutely my favorite place in the world is Germany. And everyone's like, why? Oh, it's just everything about it was cooler, right? The architecture's old. There's history. There's culture. There's things to it. And it's only because it's different from us, right? Like I live in the oldest city in Canada. St. John, New Brunswick's 236 years old. So, blah, right? But comparatively, if you go to, my cats are freaking out again. You'll hear that from time to time. Welcome to, it's the wee hours of the morning. I must make a shit ton of noise. So when you're in Germany, things there are thousands of years old, right? Yeah. They almost look at you, culture, huh? But like over there, French fries are called pommes frites, even though it's German, right? And they put curry on their French fries. And it's absolutely fat. If you make your own homemade fries, cut up potatoes and deep fry them, buy yellow curry. If you can get powdered yellow curry, if you can't get that, just get the regular stuff, which is the Indian curry, the orange stuff. Just a light sprinkle. Try it on a couple of fries first. Trust me, because if you don't like it, you don't like it. And you'll be a convert. And then dipping it in mayonnaise. It's definitely a different flavor, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's like Canada. They come up here. Something you guys don't have, I guess, in the States is beaver tails.
No.
Right? It's like a weird donut. It's a confectionery, right? Of course. It's like a donut, and they put cinnamon and icing, or there's all different ones. You can get it filled with blueberry fillings, stuff like that. And for us, it's just even where I live, that's not normal. Beaver tails are an Ontario thing. Where I'm from, the big one is something called donaires. And a donaire is, do you guys have gyros?
Yes.
Very similar, but here we call it mystery meat. Right? So the donaire, they all have their own way of making it. So the meat's a little different from a gyro, a lot less garlic. And the sauce is a sweet sauce instead of tzatziki, I think they call it. It's and I can tell you what it's made out of: 6 cans of 2% evaporated milk, 2 cups of sugar, 2 tablespoons of garlic, and then you mix that. Once it's all mixed, then you slowly pour in vinegar while stirring it really rapidly. The minute it kind of curdles, you stop, and that's the sauce. It's called sweet sauce.
Nice.
Sounds really, really gross, but if you can ever get to Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is where they originated from, go to one of the donaire places and have a donaire. You will flip the effing out. Trust me. You'll be like, oh my God. And worst part is you'll never get it anywhere else.
It sounds really good.
It is, actually. It's really tasty. Usually it's on a pita, but it's not a regular pita like you and I would buy at the store. Yeah. In Halifax, you can buy it, but here, like the ones they sell here, it's that normal pita. You can open it up in the middle and shit. right?
Oh, okay.
But down there, it's almost like a flatbread. It's very flat, and it just tastes a ton better. And you do that with the sauce, the meat, and then tomatoes and onions. You can put other stuff on it. Some people do, and we'll all look at you strange. Why do you have lettuce on your donair? Right? Like, because you like it. So. Oh, you looked up the beaver tails, did you, Deathmate? Yeah, people flip out when they get them in Ontario. Flip out. And I'm like, it's like our donut shop up here. We have something called Tim Hortons. And it's a coffee shop. Now it's owned by Burger King, by the way. And the coffee's still the same, but now they sell sandwiches and soup. And they basically went the way of Dunkin' Donuts, right? They sell kind of everything. And it's like, listen, all I want is a coffee. And then get this jerk that's ordering a sandwich out of my way. Like, oh, yeah, you go to the drive-thru, and when it starts taking too long, it's like, yeah, some dork ordered a sandwich, right? Yeah. Like, why don't you just go in and get your sandwich, man? Why are you holding up everyone else who just wants a coffee so I can go back and talk on the phone and not kill somebody? Yeah.
Kind of like being in Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you look up donairs on Google, right, and put donairs space Halifax, it'll come up. You'll see it. They'll probably talk about King of Donair. They're not the best. I don't care what they say. I took my wife there, and she said that was really good. I went, yeah, it's still not as good as like Roberto's or Tulaney's or any of the other good ones. But unfortunately, I was down in Halifax, and a lot of them have shut down. The economy really took a tank there, man. All the small shops got closed. Yeah. So, yeah, you can tell we're getting to the late part of the night. So, you still here too, Al? Or, because I know you said about you love traveling too. I'm going to get to Asia one of these days. I don't know where I want to go there. I think I'm trying to decide between going to Hawaii and not freaking out that I'm surrounded by sharks.
It's not what you think there.
No?
It depends on when you go.
Somebody said to go in the winter when you go to Hawaii because there's less tourists, but...
Well, the problem with that is if you go in the winter, when it's wintertime there, everything's almost doubled in price.
Oh, so it gets more expensive if you go in their winter.
Yes.
But if you go in their summer, it's so damn busy you want to die.
I went in September, and that's when the kids were going back to school. So it was still, what you call regular pricing, and the kids were back in school. And it was nice. It was good weather. The ocean is cold as hell, but it was good weather.
You wouldn't get me in the water. You've never heard of it. I know these two have heard of it. I have galleophobia. Right. I am irrational fear of sharks. Right. So, and somebody said, what do you mean irrational fear of sharks? I can't get in a pool without looking. I know there's no sharks. I know it's a lie what I saw on like James Bond, Goldfinger. Or no, not Goldfinger, Thunderball. Remember the sharks in the pool when they open the door and all that, and he swims by the sharks and everything? And I would leave a trail of brown behind me if I were in there, right? Like I know, and I love them. I know what they are. I know the purpose they serve. I just don't want to be in the water. Yeah, it happened because you want to know the story? You guys want to know why I'm frightened of sharks like that? It's not as interesting as you think, but some people think it is. My mother was an avid moviegoer, and in 1977, she took me at the age of 6 to see Jaws 2. And if you guys have seen Jaws 2, you know that he eats kids in Jaws 2.
Yeah. I actually, Al, when I was over there, I got to swim with the reef sharks.
Nope.
And I went down in the cage with them too.
Yeah.
To look at them.
I think I could muster up. Yeah, exactly. Well, when you're 6 years old. Oh, hold on. What are you going to do? I will let that go because I don't care. Yeah, my mother screwed me up, and she admits to it too because, of course, Jaws was then shown on TV. And what do you see in Jaws? That kid that gets eaten on the air mattress. and I was only still 7 years old at that point. So that was it. And then when I moved in with my dad, I had a screwed up childhood, divorced parents. And when I was living with my dad, then we watched Piranha.
Oh, that was a good night there.
Yeah, that was. My dad looked at me and he goes, "I'm sorry," and I went, "Well, you know what? I can watch Piranha now and laugh my butt off. If you watch that movie, the scenes with the fish in the water where they're swimming to the location where they're going to start chewing people up, you would hear that music going. It really is like that too. If you remember, one of the fish tilts all the way to the side and then flips back up to the right position again because they're pulling it behind a boat, right? And they're on lines, and it's hilarious. I can watch it now and laugh, but that one screwed me. I had trouble going to the bathroom because I was scared they were going to, of course, swim up and bite me in the butt or do whatever, right? So, yeah. And then finally I was talking to a shrink when I was getting out of the military, and I just happened to mention it. He was, "Oh, you have galleophobia." And I'm like, what the hell is that? Right? And he goes, "That's an irrational fear of sharks." Yeah. I do watch some of the movies. I laugh at them for the most part because they're so silly. Like the new Piranha and the Piranha, 3 Double D, which was just what. But there's still a part of me that you know what I mean? It's there. Like, I can't watch this. I shouldn't be watching this. So I try to brave it up. Hey, American Reefing. That's probably not the same guy that we're dealing with. Or is it? Or is that AR? Did you just change your icon?
Yeah, don't watch 47 meters below then.
Oh, I did. And I just didn't even get that far into it. I shut it off. Same with The Shallows. Yeah.
The Shallows, yeah, that was pretty good. But I watched them. I'm like, come on. Need some more killing. This is getting boring.
Well, you know what? It was a good acted movie, tension and everything. But yeah, I find a lot of the ones that deal with that. Like, I'm much more like the Megalodon makes me laugh, the movies. And yeah, Jeff. It is Jeff. Yeah. Did I watch Free Willy? Meh. You know what? I think Michael Jackson ruined Free Willy for me. So
Free Willy, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Did you guys ever see Blackfish?
No.
Check Netflix out. They might still have it. It talks about the whole, Shamu and all the killer whale stuff. And and again, I'm not an eco-hippie terrorist kind of person. I'm really, not that kind of way. But there are certain things like dolphins and whales in captivity, and it's actually torturing the fish. Sorry, the mammal. I shouldn't say it's a fish. That bothers me a little. You know what I mean? It's like it's like the dancing bear thing. You know what I mean? Like it bugs me. I love that one with the bear sitting on the chair and the lady sitting there, and that bear mauled the crap out of her, and I'm like, I'm cheering for the bear. Right? Why do you have? Go ahead.
This part. No, I hate this part because of the cable provider we have. They're in competition with Netflix, so we can't get Netflix.
Did they kick that in already with the net neutrality rules down there?
Well, we have Comcast. Comcast is in competition with Netflix.
Of course they are. Yeah.
So we can't get Netflix through the cable. They will not allow it.
Oh, okay. But you can get it on. Well, Netflix should be internet. You should be able to get around that anyway.
Right. But no, we haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, okay. Get it. Right? And make sure you write your congressman about net neutrality, dude. Trust me.
Yeah, they're talking about bringing it. They're going to bring it in, but I think they're still trying to get it passed.
No, I don't think it's going to go, and it shouldn't, because like here in Canada, they tried that, and the backlash was so hateful, it just went away. Right? They stopped trying to throttle torrents. They will nab you if you're a heavy downloader. They will nab you. But it's more because you are sucking up all the bandwidth on the line, so to speak. But they don't throttle anybody anymore. That stopped outright. Good, Jeff. How are you, man? And Angelic, American Reefing. His name is Jeff. If you include him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that either for a bit. Doing pretty good. I thought I'd stream a little bit, boost my hours there. Oh, and everybody, don't forget to thumbs up if you haven't. I've noticed that that's there, but I always forget to mention it. Again, I'm doing this more for fun than I am for anything else. So I think everybody loves the stream too, Angelic, for the fact that all the topics that do come up, especially the reefing stuff, everything comes up. You know what I mean? It's like you only call one person Jeff. Yeah, American Reefing, right? Yeah. But on the, I'm going to bring up the Lisa thing because I want everyone that does know who she is. So apparently she's got everything but lighting, filter, and testing and stuff like that. So I have informed the guy up here that's going to help out, the retailer. And I'm really curious to see if he's going to give her lights, because I think that would be a real sweet thing if he did the lights. Because a canister filter, even a good one, is only going to cost her like $180 up here, like a Cobalt EXT or something really, really snazzy. But a light, well, we know they're expensive, right?
Well, I hope he pulls through and gets the lights for her. That'd be a really nice thing to do.
Yeah, I'd love to see her get like an AI Hydra 52 or something, or a Hydra 52 or something really good for a 40 breeder.
Yeah, they're good lights.
I use Chinese black box. I do all the, I mod it myself. I actually got a guy that next week I got to do his, take his lights out and actually take all the warm whites off, put on the 12Ks, and do the UV and cyans, which is basically modding a Mars Aqua up to an SB Reef. That's all I'm doing, and I'm doing it cheaper. So I don't know if you know anything about the black boxes, Angelic.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So those Mars Aquas, they put the 6500s on all four corners and two in the middle, and they're just algae growers. So I switched those out and I put in 12K. 12. Actually, I think they're 12,500 that I got. But I got a good deal on them, and they're Epistar LED. So, no. But what I do is I swap out the two greens for two cyan, 490 nanometer, and I swap out some of the blues for UVs, 360 nanometer, so you get the glow, a little more glow. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
I love the 40 breeders. I've always loved that tank for some reason.
It's I think the same reason we all like 120s, right? It's that depth to height, just to the width is perfect, right? 24 inches of snow, whatever. No,
that's what I'm running. Right, I'm running a 120 right now, but if I can get it, if they haven't already gotten it at a local fish store here close to me, they've got a 400-gallon acrylic, and the acrylic is not scratched at all. Would stand for $750.
That's not bad, actually.
No, that's pretty cheap.
There was you want Jealous?
It's reef ready.
I'll give you Jealous. Oh, and it's reef ready to boot. All right. Yeah. There was a tank that went up for sale here on Kijiji, which is like Craigslist in the States, and I saw it, and even I wanted it. It was a 400-gallon, already done, with the stand, with the canopy, and the sump, and the guy had it up for, what was it, $1,000?
That's cheap.
That was super cheap, right? I mean, I told guys, I said, somebody's going to snag it. I called him. He had 17 people bidding to get the tank. They were raising the price trying to get it.
The tank by itself costs way more than that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the wife asked me, what are you going to do with that? I said, make a frac tank.
Money still won't make you warm up here, Deathmate. Yeah, Canada can be cold. Yeah, but usually it's pretty warm here, but we're about to head into the phase where we're going to see minus 40. So when you go out and start your car, you don't sit in your car. You go back in the house. Heated seats don't fix that. I suppose it would make you happy about being cold. Yeah, I can't stand heat. No, I made a joke, and I don't think anybody saw it there tonight. Spontaneous human combustion is just Canadians who went too far south. So, if you know what spontaneous human combustion is, I guess. I thought that was funny. Screw you guys.
Yeah, I was laughing. I was going to ask, well, of course we know what it is. You have the fast food Taco Bells and stuff like that, don't you?
Out west, they have true Taco Bells. From where I live, it's a KFC Taco Bell.
Okay, same thing.
Well, not really. It is different. Trust me. I've had them both. Yeah, you can get a 7 layers, and it's like meat paste, not meat. Yeah, little too fast food, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Al, I'm not that funny. I guess so. I'm hurt.
They actually had some friends had a big argument. It involved Taco Bell, and it was making me laugh so hard about whether they put cayenne pepper or not in their hot sauce.
Okay.
I'm like, what are y'all arguing about? They're like, well, you know, this and that about what they put in their sauce. I'm like, they don't even put real meat in their food, and y'all are arguing about the sauce.
The sauce.
Are you kidding me? Come on, guys. Find something else to argue about.
Yeah, it's sometimes really silly what you see people argue about goat cheese. I don't know if I've had goat cheese.
Oh, goat cheese is good.
I bet you it probably is. Yeah. Dennis Leary said that you can't trust French-speaking people because, you know, they live right above you, Quebec, right? And they just want to come down and steal your cheese.
Yeah, and absolutely, Death Mage, I agree that, yes, real Mexican food is made with shredded beef.
Yeah, real beef, you know. So, no. So yeah, it's definitely, you know, it's interesting the people you meet in this hobby. I think that's why we all do this. It's a very social hobby, reefing. I don't think it's as social as when I was playing in a band, but that was because I was traveling town to town. You know, if you listen to Grand Funk Railroad, we're an American band. We're coming to your town. We're going to party down. That's kind of what you did. So, of course, you met a bunch of people, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love Mexican food. Canadians love Mexican food. I think it's because it's a dare for our digestive system. Yeah. No. Wife's been to Mexico. I've never been.
Okay, I'm going to say this because this is just a question. I know it's going to start a huge debate.
Okay.
Why don't the U.S. just go ahead and adopt Mexico as a state?
That's, well, according to American Dad, Mexico and Canada are going to band together and take you over anyway.
Yeah. You know, it's just a question I've always had.
You know what I mean, Mang? Eh?
They're crossing the border coming into this country, which is fine, you know, whatever. Why don't we just adopt them as a state?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? It's funny, Death Mage. In history, it was all because of what was that bloody guy's name? I'm going to forget it now. Pancho Villa kept that from happening. I think it was part of the history too there. Yeah. And then, of course, there was what was the war? You know, what do you call it? The Alamo. Well, I'm not up on that history as much as I should be, actually.
Well, yeah. Death Mage, look how long that Louisiana didn't belong to the U.S.
That's true. Bought it from the French. No. Louisiana Purchase, right? It's like Canada. Yeah, by the way, Louisiana, you're welcome. They came from us. I don't know if you guys knew that. Did you?
No.
The Cajuns? Yeah, that was from, if you look it up, it's called the Acadian expulsion. So in where I live, my province, New Brunswick, there's a spot up in the northeast that we call Acadia, right? So it's Tatamagouche, Bucktouche, all these places, these French colonialists, we kicked them out because they weren't loyal to the British. And when we kicked them out, they went to Louisiana and they became Cajuns. And Creoles, and all the French ones, that French population down there, right? No, we stole it. Yeah, that's same in Canada. We stole it. That's true. Louisiana. All I can think of with Louisiana is Southern Comfort, the movie. Yeah. Everyone's an immigrant. That's why I always laugh about that when it comes on. Same here. My family,
exactly.
Yeah, my family immigrated to Canada it was a long time ago. I think it was 1826, something like that. It was when the first of my bloodline came over here. But before that, we're all British. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. The big problem in Canada, and I get a little sad when I see it going on, is a lot of Chinese are coming out to the East Coast to go to university and flight schools. And there is just a butt ton of hate. And I'm just sitting there looking at it. It's like, there's not one of us in this city. We are literally what do you call it? The city's the loyalist city. So it talks about being loyal to the British right in the name. Hello? That means we all immigrated from Britain, guys. Like, we're immigrants too, right? If you want to get technical, but I was born here. Okay, so how far back do you have to go before they weren't born here? This is that's why it was called the New World. So, whatever. You know what? Death Mage, the hating on Asians, yeah, it's they're a little rude. Okay, because their culture is very drastically different. Canadians are very polite, and the ones who have moved here, like there's a corner store, and he's Korean, go figure. But he is the greatest guy. He likes to be called Paul. That's not his name. And he is the friendliest guy I've ever met. And I was in the store one day, and this person was just being extremely rude. And he was smiling the whole time. No, right? Doing his thing. And I had to say to the person, why are you giving him a hard time? Pay for your stuff and get the, explicitives out. You're in here buying from him. Don't be a jerk. Get your stuff and get the hell out. Right? And I said to, Paul, I said, do you get that a lot, man? And he's like, here and there. And I'm like, you could just tell he gets it a lot. And I'm like, why on earth is my city and my fellow Canadians, we're supposedly the politest people on earth. Why are they acting like that? And I didn't pick up on it until I was out another part of my city where a lot of them live, because it's just people will rent to them without trouble. They have their little groups because they know each other. They feel comfortable that way. They can be a little crass, for lack of a better term, a little rude, because that's their culture. That's not considered being rude or mistreating somebody in their country. But when they're here for, Canadians, I guess, in St. Johners in particular, they think it's rude. And it's like, you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, you will know better. We are rude. We are rude. We are the rudest people you've ever met. But if we know you're foreign, if you say you're from the U.S., you'll see the most polite people you've ever seen. It's an act. It's a total act. Right? I'm sorry, eh? No, I'm not really. I'll say it to you, though. No. A lot of us are very nice. People say that. That's true. But no, there's a vast majority that are not. We're pretty generous, though. I think that's in our nature, is to go out and help. Maybe that's why they think we're polite. Maybe? You think? What do you think, Angelic?
Could be.
Could be.
If you guys like to help, you can help donate to my bank account.
Yeah, well, we donate to other countries' bank accounts. Don't even get me started on that horse shit.
Yeah, I know that's right. And I was just kidding by that.
No,
But
I
one
know.
thing that I was brought up upon, and one thing I've always lived my life by, when I dislike somebody, I don't hate because I don't like the word hate. When I dislike somebody, I don't dislike somebody because of nationality or where they live or their skin color. I dislike this person because of something they did personally, their attitude or whatever.
I shouldn't have brought up the Canadian thing now. Canadian bacon is, you guys call it back bacon. It's technically ham. So you have your regular bacon and there's a layer, I guess, on the pig that right above that is, it used to be cheap bacon called back bacon. And in Canada, we call it Canadian. It got called Canadian bacon. We call it back bacon. Now, I should say that. I said that backwards. In the States, you guys call it Canadian bacon. In Canada, we call it back bacon. It's different. It's more ham tasting than it is actually bacon. Yeah. Still good though. Salty as hell. Love it. There's a heart attack on a bun right there. Nope. Our actual bacon looks just like your bacon. Back bacon is a completely different thing. Yeah. You don't walk in and we buy back bacon. We don't. Some people do. Yeah. And I think we made bacon really popular in general. Yeah, it's a different part of the pig. Back bacon is, yeah, or Canadian bacon. Any other Canadian questions? I'm more than happy to answer them. I'm a Canuck. There's no doubt about it. See the boot? Do you hear it? Did you hear it? No doubt about it. It does come out. So, actually, it's funny. General West Montgomery from World War II was asked one time what he thought the perfect army would be, and he said the obedience of a British soldier, the technology of the Americans, and the sheer grit and determination of a Canadian soldier. I was in the military, so sorry. I'm biased. But go look up D-Day. Look up what we did at Juno and Sword. Yeah. Or look up Penny Hill. Yeah. You can try it. It's actually fattier in its own way, but it's good. Yeah. If you go to the store, ask for back bacon. You'll get it. Oh, you have some in the fridge. Well, there you go. Put a little more salt on it.
Salt and gravy make everything all better.
Actually, what's really tasty, I shit you not, put a little maple syrup in the corner and just dip a little. Trust me. I'm diabetic. I miss so many things. No. It's ham. That's exactly what it is. You got it.
Thanks a lot. Y'all making me hungry now.
Yeah, exactly. I was sitting there going, I'm going to have to make my stir fry now. I'm on a weird schedule. I work nights, so that's still there. So it's hard to get to sleep at a decent hour. But well, at least you're not hangry. I got asked about that was the other day. What's hangry? That's when you're angry and hungry at the same time. Look out. Yeah. That'd be those Snickers commercials. You get weird when you're hungry. We call that hangry. Yeah. I'm gonna cut this off shortly. Try melatonin and fix your sleep cycle. It probably would. Somebody was saying they're on melatonin. Is that you, Al? I heard you mention that earlier, or read you mention that earlier.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get going. Get a little bit of rest.
Yeah, I got a big day tomorrow of tank stuff. Actually, I got to get up and call that retailer and get pissy about that pump. It's like I don't care. Just send me. I had a DCS 2000, and instead of a Jabo, they sent me the Coral box and said it's the same thing. And if you watch the video that I have on the 20-gallon tour, sump tour in that, and sorry, the fragging one, sorry. I show the flow coming out of that, and you can tell there's no way that's full on, right? And yet the pump says it is. They're saying it's working just fine. And I'm like, well, I don't want it back. You're not going to return it, right? What can we do here? And he said, well, what would you like to do? And I said, can you upgrade me to the DCP 3000? Somebody's running in the water.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It's all right. And so I'm going to upgrade to that, but I'm going to have to pay $12. Well, whatever. Just send me to the 3000 and I'll be done with just. So I can dial it back and actually have some control over what's going on. But anyway, guys, I'm going to cut it off for the night. Great chat. Thank you so much for coming in here. And, check out my videos. I'm sure to check out your guys's, trust me. And have a good night.
You too.